Oh, it's going to be one of those kind of days, isn't it? Good morning and welcome into Ben and Woods. I am your host today, Ben Higgins, along with our executive producer, Paul Reindl. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
And, of course, because the first voice you don't hear is Stephen Woods, you know he's off today, but he's already in our chat. Did you see this, Paulie?
He's already in the chat.
He's already in the chat. Don't F up Foreplay, guys. No pressure on what's always the
salty
toughest
language
segment for
on a
us.
Thursday.
Yeah,
Maybe we can get the mods to ban him indefinitely.
They definitely will act quickly if they think it's appropriate. Woodsy is heading to Disneyland today with the family, celebrating Taylor's birthday. I would like to wish my very good friend, Taylor Woods, a happy birthday. I'd like to bury the hatchet maybe this year. This is the year that Taylor and I bury the hatchet and become the bestest of best friends. I hope.
I thought about it over the weekend when we put together a bunch of fun audio for you for Monday, celebrate your 50th birthday, Ben, and kind of just going through the archives. Obviously, you hate Taylor, and you've hated Taylor for a long time now. And I don't know what Taylor necessarily did to you to deserve it, but it's a real thing. It exists.
Oh, you know. He doesn't even know who I am. He calls me Ben and Woods.
I think that's a great honor, and you should wear it with pride. Personally, he thinks you represent the entire show. He thinks you are Ben and Woods. Without you, it couldn't work. But I also found it funny that you also had a rivalry with Bo when he was younger. You lost like the very first tournament of drops. A Bo drop won. I remember we had audio of him saying like, "Suck it, Ben, you're a loser," and you just couldn't handle that. So I think the Ben versus Woods' children narrative will always be one of my favorite ones.
It's just kind of an undercurrent to the show. I hope they have a very good time today. I wonder how long they will last. As the kids get older, generally, in my experience, the days at Disneyland also get longer. When we used to go, we had the yearly passes when the kids were younger, and we would drive up early in the morning, as they are doing today, get there as soon as the gates open, last about, 2 or 3 hours. Kids would be tired, and it's like, fine, all right, we'll just head back down. It's like, 12:30 or 1 o'clock, and the day is over. As the kids got a little bit older, that became 2, 3. Sometimes we'd make it all the way to dinner time almost, and I wonder what the plan is. Woods think they'll be home by 3 o'clock. You have to play these things by ear when you get to Disneyland. I have not been
by 3. That means they're heading to the car at like noon, 12:30, right?
That's probably the safe bet. Yeah, you're going to have to start exiting the park after lunch.
What time's rope drop? 8 o'clock?
I don't know. It changes day to day, but sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's been 9.
Okay.
But,
no, they'll be fine.
They'll have a good time. You told Woods to just enjoy himself and have a corn dog.
Yeah.
Which is obviously one of the Disneyland staples. And I wanted to ask you about that.
Red wagon corn dog?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been. Since my kids have gotten older, we haven't made a trip in a few years. But as a parent, the food was always one of the things I would look forward to, but I could never decide what to get. Would you do the corn dog? Would you do the turkey leg? Would you hold out just for the churro later? And then, of course, Fancy Ben one time had to do it. And this was actually pretty cool. I'd always wanted to do it when I was growing up. But, of course, my parents never really had the time or the patience. But I always wanted to eat at the restaurant inside Pirates of the Caribbean. Kind of the fancier restaurant that's there as you're boarding the ride.
Is that Club 33?
No, that's
totally
even
separate?
Fancier. That's near there. I've never been in Club 33. That's like the
I have a friend that goes like once a year.
That's like the exclusive members only lounge and club that they have. But no, the restaurant that's actually inside the ride. It's like a Creole Cajun restaurant. You can get gumbo, you can get beignets and sit there, and it's actually pretty cool because I think Pirates of the Caribbean remains maybe the coolest atmosphere for a ride. I don't know if you love the ride in particular. You've got the quick 2 drops, and then you're just down through the pirate scenery at the bottom before you come up at the end. It's a pretty simple ride overall, but I love going in there. It's dark, it's cool. You've been hot walking around all day. Sitting in that boat for a while always was the highlight of my day when going to Disneyland with the kids. But
that's kind of the first ride, like when you walk in, right? It's one of the closer rides.
It
the
is
entrance?
if you go straight to the left, you
Yeah.
can go over to the Adventureland and then New Orleans Square,
Yep.
where you'll find Pirates of the Caribbean.
I've only been to Disneyland a couple of times. It's been a while, but that was fun. And then I have been since they did the new Star Wars land, which I'm quite positive the Woods family will be heading to that part of the park because it is, I think, the best.
That's right. I would say the restaurant's called Blue Bayou.
Blue Bayou.
Yes, inside Pirates of the Caribbean. Carlos says, I smoked a J on Pirates of the Caribbean during grad night. LMAO. Don't think they approve of that inside Disneyland. They have very strict policies there.
I could probably use something from that last sentence that you just said.
So anyway, I'm always the dilemma is, what do you save yourself for? Sarah says the fried chicken at the Plaza Inn. Go to the ice cream parlor at the end of the day. That's on Main Street was always a tradition.
Dole Whip
at the
Dole
Tiki
Whip.
Dole Whip. Yeah, that's also delicious.
There was
the Bengal barbecue if you want to get like some teriyaki chicken or something.
If anybody that happens to be listening right now is heading up to Disneyland and they need some coffee, there was like a horchata cold brew sold near the Star Wars land, which is fantastic. Delicious.
It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah.
Honestly, the number of selections.
I think I've watched like a YouTube video, some content creators like ranking all the best new foods at Disneyland, and it's quite a menu over there.
I'm kind of jealous now, now talking about it, and hopefully they have a really good day and have a really good time. And maybe I need to do one of those trips, even though my kids are grown up now. At some point, just go back to Disneyland. You don't need an excuse necessarily. Is it awkward if you're an adult and you go without your children to Disneyland?
Yes,
it is.
Maybe.
I don't know.
A little weird.
We have friends.
I've been a couple of times, and I don't have kids. I think if you have kids and you're leaving them at home so that you can go to Disneyland, that sounds weird.
Okay, that's a little weird. We have friends who don't have kids. She's a school teacher. They live right by Disneyland, so they get the annual passes, and they treat it like their basically neighborhood park.
Yeah,
where they go in. They don't necessarily are doing a full Disney day every time, but they'll just go kind of stroll around and enjoy themselves. And it always seems very, very pleasant, like a fun couples thing to do if you don't have to, obviously, make giant plans with strollers all day long. It's a completely different experience, I would think. But I've never really done the whole without kids Disneyland thing, and maybe I need to give it a try at some point.
Megan and I have gone, I think, twice. We've gotten like the park hopper one time, which is great. You can go back and forth between California Adventure, Disneyland, and then one time we had just Disneyland tickets, and we got them for free. It was cool. Get up there and check it out. After about 2 hours, we're like, all right, well, I don't really need to go sit in line for 40 minutes and sit on It's a Small World. Like, you want to just get out of here? And we ended up just buying tickets anyways and walking over to California Adventure because it's a little more adult friendly with some of the rides.
Wood says, please don't go to Disneyland by yourself. I understand that. Yes. Just an adult male walking around Disneyland totally unaccompanied is a red flag.
See, I like Caitlin's comment here in the chat. Ben needs to take Taylor to Disneyland. I think that would be riveting content if we could just like follow you with a camera crew and you take Taylor by yourself to Disneyland and just see how that goes.
That sounds kind of like a little like work though, as opposed to fun. And no offense to Taylor,
I would take Taylor to Disneyland. I think me and him would have a blast.
I mean, once you've done your own kids, I've never had the desire to then start taking care of other people's children. At some point you get grandkids, I think, and then you're excited to like do this with your grandkids. And, hopefully someday in the next, 15 years or so, I will have grandkids that I can absolutely take to Disneyland. So maybe I have to wait
for somebody else to take them to Disneyland.
I don't know. I think I can do that one on my own if they're my own grandkids. I just don't know if I want to take other people's children on that excursion to Disney.
We can just get you some Meta glasses, and then you and Taylor will just follow you around. We can live stream it. You guys' day at Disneyland together.
Well, as Woods and the family are heading to Disneyland, I got a day on my hands, and it started the way you don't want any day to start.
It's already started.
It's already started, yes, with the engine light on my car going on the way to work. Coolant again. It was my son's car was the coolant earlier, had something chewed through the coolant line. We dealt with that last weekend. My light went on a couple of weeks ago. I went to get it taken care of. They said, don't really see a big problem. So they just kind of reset it, tuned it up, and everything seemed good. But now it's gone back on. So apparently I have a problem that even the mechanics and dealership can't figure out what's wrong with it because the light has come back on. And now I'm wondering, now what do I do? If you've already taken it to the dealership and they don't know what to do, where do you go from there? I'm not a mechanic. I don't know what to do. I've already taken it to the experts. They seem to be mystified. The car's running, and it's just the light comes on. It makes you very nervous to drive around with the engine light on because it threatens, you should, if you keep driving, you do major damage to your car. Well, you said that last time I took it to the dealership. They didn't find anything wrong. So now what do I do? I'm in this limbo to start my day. Got a long day. We got the show, and then having lunch with our agent, strategic planning for the upcoming year in 2026. A little take stock here at the end of 2025. And then I'm on the anchor desk all afternoon, evening for Kimberly Hunt. So going into Channel 10 and doing the 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock news tonight.
So my man, you wake up, and you're like, you already know, as soon as you wake up, you got like a 16-hour day coming up.
It's going to be a long one today.
And then your car engine light comes on.
Right. And I don't know what to do about it. I'm just in this limbo. Like, I have no idea. I think I'm just going to try to drive it today and hopefully it doesn't start smoking or something. But I feel nervous about it. Like, now what do I do?
You can just put out your address publicly to the tier ones, and I'm sure somebody knows what they're doing. They can come take a look.
Well, a lot of them in the chat already do. Like Vinny says, if your oil looks like chocolate milk, coolant is leaking into the engine. Thank you. But how would I know what my oil looks like? There's not like a glass of oil somewhere that I can just observe in the car.
You know where like the dipstick is, right? You can pull that out and you can wipe it clean and put it back in and
then look what I do not know where the dipstick is. Do they even have dipsticks in cars anymore? I
think so.
Is that how it still works? I have no idea.
Haven't you ever gotten your oil changed? You ever see them like gotten it out and they show you on their wrist, they can show you how nice the oil is?
I've seen the dipstick. I don't know where it is in my car or how it works. Now I can add oil. I know where the oil reservoir is if I need to top off the oil. I know where to add coolant if I need to top off the coolant. I know some basic things. The dipstick, what it's supposed to look like, I have no idea. Like that to me is a little too far beyond. So hopefully that's not it. It's not leaking into the engine. Where is the dipstick? I mean, is it just there in the car?
Right there on the top.
Like on the hood.
It's got like a little plastic ring on the top that you can pull it out.
That's the dipstick.
And then it's got a long, like metal, flimsy stick.
Right. And it's just the only purpose.
Like I don't know much about cars. I'm pretty confident if we went down after the show, I could show you quickly where.
And is the purpose of the dipstick only to see what the oil looks like inside the level,
engine? How much oil? There's like little marks on the.
Right, but don't modern cars already kind of do that in terms of like your engine level's low? I've got digital sensors that tell me if my engine level's low, so I don't need a dipstick anymore, other than to maybe check the quality of the oil. But again, I don't know that I'm going to be able to look at it and go, oh, that looks too dark or possibly too cloudy for what oil is supposed to look like. I mean, oil is already kind of sludgy to begin with. This is very complicated.
I am sure Car Guy right now is losing his mind.
Yeah, KG says the computers lie. What's the point of all this modern technology in my car if I can't trust it or believe it anyway when it goes on? It's just to spin you out. And now I'm spun out completely for my day.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry. I know you don't.
I know you don't.
I call my buddy who's 1,000 miles away. He's a mechanic. I'm like, what does this mean? He's like, I can't tell you. I don't know. I can't tell from here. I'm like, sorry, I don't know what to do. Watch the YouTube videos. No. I check and they either watch the YouTube videos or spend a lot of money. And if you're trying to do it yourself,
I don't like doing either of those things, Paulie. I don't like either of those things. I don't like do it yourself. I don't like spending a lot of money. I'm in the absolute no man's land of what to do about my car at this point.
Ben, I got a sailboat to sell you in the Sahara.
Don't forget about the blinker fluid.
Glad you guys are sports guys.
have no useful skills. I really have gone through my life, and I think about it. You watch shows like The Walking Dead or something, and you imagine what happens in the zombie apocalypse. Society crumbles, and now you're on your own. What skills can you take into the next iteration of this world? And I just don't think there's going to be a major need for someone to talk about the San Diego Padres in the New World Order, which is really the only thing that I can do. That I've over the last 25 years, I've developed the skill to be able to talk coherently about the San Diego Padres. I can read a teleprompter. I can edit a little bit of video from time to time, write a nice script here or there. None of that is going to keep me alive when society collapses. None of it at all.
Maybe you run into a zombie who just wants to talk, Lakers basketball. You might be able to contribute.
I could get by a little bit, but I do feel like this. If the world ever collapses,
you and a couple of zombies just talking Mountain West sports. In the zombie apocalypse, I'm probably staying far away from you, actually.
I would agree. You're not going to be that much better off, let's be honest. Maybe a little bit better off, but I
think I'd be much better off than you.
You have a lot of social media skills that will be completely irrelevant in the New World Order as well. Let's not go around bragging too much about how well you're going to do in the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, I think I'd last significantly longer than you would, my friend.
I think
we both agree Woods is the first one to go.
It's close. Woods and I are going to be very quick victims in the
Woods
zombie
would somehow
apocalypse.
Larry David his way into just this most ridiculous scenario. And I don't know. I think I'd stay away from both of you guys in the zombie apocalypse. Just bunker down.
We rely so much on society for everything now. The functioning of society keeps me going. And if it ever broke down, I'm trapped. I need to maintain the current established order. The revolution, I'm not in favor of the revolution because I don't know what I do if the revolution comes. I'm not ready for it. I'm never going to be ready for it. I'm 50 now. I'm too old to change. I am officially too old to change my ways. Last week, I could have changed my ways. I could have become a do-it-yourself mechanic. I could have built my own, put in a garden or something, grown my own food. At this point, I am officially too old to change, and now I am reliant on the younger generation and you people making sure that society keeps going so that I can remain alive for hopefully, a good 3 or 4 more decades.
We get through the zombie apocalypse. Do the Padres still have not have a manager at that point?
Probably. And there's so much we'll talk about it coming up here. And I think we've pretty much exhausted our foreplay without Woods as usual. We will talk about the Padres' ongoing managerial search. You just keep hearing all this, these news and this rumors coming out of Petco Park. No, you don't. I am shocked every single day. There's nothing. I'm hearing nothing. Have you heard anything, Paulie?
I heard something like a week ago.
The last thing we heard was Albert Pujols had a 9.5-hour interview. That was 9 days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You just hear people, I got a buddy who knows a guy that works near Petco Park or something like that. As far as like actual reporting, from people that you do trust, guys like Kevin Acey, Dennis Lynn, AJ Cassavell, I haven't heard a thing.
All quiet on the managerial front.
I don't know if we, for whatever reason, want to give like Preller and his team some credit there, because I feel like 4 years ago, that was not necessarily the case. There were a lot of loose lips. There were a lot of rumors, always constantly swirling.
Is it good or bad?
I don't know,
but
the Padres
have such a tight lid on everything that's going on right now.
I would say the last year to 2 years, it's been a lot more quiet down there.
Certainly has been. So we will get into that coming up. We'll set the menu for a Thursday edition of Ben and Woods that will feature a special guest. Second half of the program from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, I will be joined by our resident Padres pre- and post-game show host, off-season. Sammy Levitt is going to be here.
Yesterday was a big day for Sammy, I think. He, after about 6 months of teases, he finally debuted the 2025 version of... And with that, the 2025 season comes to an end.
Wonder how we can get an update on how viral it's gone now in the last 24 hours. If people are already starting to put together their reels
Sam
with
Levitt
Sammy's
Enterprises.
voice.
Yeah, we gotta.
Which celebrities have already launched their own videos with Sammy's voice? Yeah, we can get an update from Sammy Levitt. He will be in studio second half of the program today, but we will start with the latest on everything in Padres land and more. We will get to that after our first check of traffic with Kelly Danick on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. First, though, I will tell you about Prize
You're
Picks.
good,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
good,
good.
You're good.
Prize Picks is my daily fantasy sports app. I got it right here on my phone. It is easy to use. We got football tonight, so you can set your first football lineup of the week by simply picking more or less on statistical projections between 2 and 6 players. Here's how it works. You kind of go two different ways. You can go aggressive, try to win big, put together 5 or 6 player power lineups, win them all, and you can turn $5 into, well, as much as 2,000 times your money. So that would be $10,000 if you make the most aggressive picks possible. Or you can go a little more conservative, put together 5 picks, but go with the flex play. You only need to get 4 right to actually win, or go with 4 right to win a little bit in that situation as well, or make a smaller lineup like 2 or 3 players and win that way. Lots of different options, lots of different ways to go with Prize Picks. Of course, every sport represented, including football, college football, basketball, hockey right now, among your many choices. When you look at that app, you've got many different directions you can go every single day. The first thing you do, though, is when you go to the website, prizepicks.com, download the app, and use the code KWFN to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code KWFN to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. At Prize Picks, where it's good to be right, must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details.
The spa with this. Ah. And this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, now open.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by AleSmith Brewing, celebrating 30 years of craft beer in San Diego. AleSmith is turning 30 with a tiki party. Join the celebration this Saturday starting at 2 p.m. at the AleSmith Tasting Room in Miramar. Live music, silent disco. You know me and my silent discos, Paulie.
You love a silent disco.
Food
I
trucks.
wish I loved anything as much as you love a silent disco.
Slushies, special beer releases, and more. Don't miss the 30th anniversary party at AleSmith. All right, on tap today, it is a Throwback Thursday on Ben & Woods. We may have some clips for you later, but we'll talk some Padres baseball coming up here momentarily in our 7 o'clock hour. Don't do this in our Padres Smörgåsbord. Going to take a look at some of the offseason contract projections that The Athletic has come up with, including 5 different San Diego Padres and what they are expected to pick up on the free agent market. Now, could be from the Padres, probably will be from other teams, but it's
there was a few. I was like, oh, please don't come back to the Padres on that deal.
Dylan Cease, Michael King, Luis Arraez, Ryan O'Hearn, and Robert Suarez all have. Tim Britton went through and kind of looked at previous numbers, comparable players with similar stats, histories, not just what they did the previous year, but what they've done the last 5 years, averaged it out. He's taken a look at, the forces in the market, inflation, everything together, and come up with what he thinks are the most likely contract terms for players. And we're going to look at those, discuss whether you have any interest in bringing players back at numbers that are similar, and whether we think that those guys will get more or less than the contracts that they're projected for by the Athletics. So that'll be our smorgasbord topic coming up in our 7 o'clock hour. As I mentioned, Sammy Levitt will be here at 8. We'll play some Real or Fake, Throwback Thursday, Real or Fake, for a chance to qualify for the Sammy Hagar trip to Las Vegas. And then we'll have our Lorando report in our 9 o'clock hour. We also, is this true, we have another pair of SDSU basketball tickets to give away for Sunday's game against Idaho State. The Aztecs trying to avoid what has already befallen several members of the Mountain West, and that is an ugly home quad 4 resume damaging loss in the first week of the season. It happened.
Losses to schools that got, these teams like Fresno State, who was the most recent culprit, they're paying these schools a good amount of money just to come in and basically get some work done, and they end up losing.
Happened to Boise State. They lost to a D2 team. Yeah. Happened to UNLV. They lost to, I think, Tennessee Martin. And now Fresno State last night losing to USC Upstate. That's the University of South Carolina. That's like a small offshoot of the University of South Carolina. That is just a shocking, ugly home loss that, will count against them if they even get to the point where they're discussing their resume for the NCAA tournament. But the upshot for the Aztecs, this has been a conference where you've had 4, 5 teams sometimes make the NCAA tournament. The more of these bad losses happen, the more it looks like, hey, it may be just 1 or 2 teams in the Mountain West that make it. So it actually makes your job harder. If you have some, you stumble once or twice in the conference, which is almost inevitable because you're traveling, going to altitude, playing, 2 games in 3 days at altitude sometimes when you're scheduled, and you lose, all of a sudden, they lost a few games and their conference wasn't very good. Just drags everybody down. So
what was the season like 5 or 6 years ago? They went like 18-1 or something in conference play and did not get into the tournament
because they did not win the Mountain West tournament, and because the conference was that bad, they did not give them an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament. Yeah, are we heading that direction?
Kind of looking
possible.
That way.
So early, but you certainly don't want to absorb one of your own losses like that in one of these early season games. And then in a couple of weeks, the Aztecs will pick things up and they'll play in the Players Era Festival in Las Vegas, Michigan, Oregon. They've got a game against Arizona next month. All good resume boosting type matchups where they can, try to put together a non-conference resume that won't make them have to win the Mountain West tournament at the end of the year. But we will have some tickets to give away for the Aztecs game on Sunday against Idaho State coming up later in the program today. First, though, let's just address what's going on with the San Diego Padres managerial search. As Paulie and I already mentioned, we're not hearing anything that you're not hearing at this point. Sources have been very quiet. We had heard, of course, the news about Albert Pujols with the long interview. And I'll be honest, I thought it would be done by now. I thought maybe we'd hear Monday or Tuesday a managerial hiring and then a press conference yesterday or today to introduce the new manager. What are some potential reasons that a manager has not been hired? I've seen panic in Padres land. I don't know that panic is warranted. It's not the fact that it's a bad job that nobody wants. That I can throw that out. Everybody wants a managerial job. Everybody wants the Colorado Rockies job. It's there's 30 of them. They're going to have no trouble finding someone who wants to be their manager. Why is it taking so long? Well, I mean, there's certainly a few possibilities out there, and I don't know which one is more real than the other. They could have already identified their manager, whether it's Albert Pujols or one of the other candidates we know about, and are still trying to iron out contract details. That can sometimes be a process that takes a few days, and it's not any, doesn't mean that something's gone wrong, but they can be complicated deals, with multi-years incentives for, reaching a league championship series or World Series and having to figure out all the incentives that go along with things. And that can just be a process that you have to go through with your representation and the team. And you don't want to announce anything until the ink is dry on a contract.
They don't have like the standard Padres contract, the base manager contract.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what you get. deal with it.
Now, if it was like Ruben Niebla, I wouldn't think it would be as complicated of a deal. I feel like Albert Pujols might have a more complicated deal. He has his own brand. There might be some discussions about marketing and different things when it comes to a player, a name, the caliber of Albert Pujols, if that's who you're hiring. So,
one thing we talked about, I think this was off the air, like, would Albert Pujols, if he gets the job as the Padres manager, how many times, like, you would have to sell Pujols jerseys, right, in the team store?
I would think so.
How many times has the manager possibly had jerseys sold in the team store?
It's a good question. I mean, there've been famous managers, but I don't remember seeing a lot of Schilts walking around Petco Park the last couple of years.
Actually,
I don't remember seeing a bunch of Melvins at Petco Park.
Remember seeing like Bochy, unless it was a player uniform.
That's a good point.
Jersey.
I would think that they might be some Pujols managerial jerseys.
Could that be something where they're working on a percentage of sales? I don't know.
Absolutely.
You never know.
Absolutely. All of these things are on the table and could make for a complicated managerial contract negotiation. So that's one potential holdout. But I don't necessarily think that's the case. I am starting to at least entertain the idea that there is another candidate out there that we have not heard about that is getting serious consideration, potentially one that was not available to be interviewed until after the World Series was over.
So you mean not like even Brian Esposito, Ryan Flaherty?
No. I don't know.
Like somebody that hasn't even been really named yet.
I don't know for a fact. Don Mattingly would fit at least the description of someone who was coaching through the playoffs to the end of the World Series. And if they wanted to be thorough, and AJ, he's nothing if not thorough when it comes to these interviews, and you wanted to go through the process where, hey, let's do a quick Zoom call as soon as the World Series is over, and then let's get you in and do a day, have lunch, dinner, sit down for 8 to 10 hours and discuss your managerial philosophy. That's something that would push the decision, certainly here through this week, maybe to the end of this week. At some point, though, you've got to feel like in the next 24 to 48 hours, you feel like the Padres are going to have a new manager. There's not much else that I can imagine that could hold up a decision. For another 2 weeks, why would it take that long to hire a manager? Just it feels like we've got to be near the ending of the process.
Knowing just kind of a little bit about how things work from the media standpoint with decisions like this, and we've had a lot of experience over the last 6 years with managerial hires. There's press conferences, press releases, all of that stuff that follows the actual announcement of the signing. My guess is if it doesn't happen like in the next few hours today, it ain't happening this week, because they wouldn't announce it. I can't say for certain. My guess is they're not going to announce something on a Friday and then a press conference like the following Tuesday. It's usually within a day or two.
Yeah, PR would tell you don't want to lose the momentum. Friday news dumps generally don't get the kind of coverage.
I fully expected actually a press release maybe yesterday evening for a Friday press conference. Like that's kind of the timeline. So now that it's Thursday, like after noon today, like it's probably unlikely that they would announce something and be like, by the way, press conference tomorrow at 9 a.m.
It's not impossible.
Not impossible.
It could leak out and, the official announcement doesn't come until Monday and you've got a press conference on Tuesday. I would not anticipate the Padres making a big announcement over the weekend. They know just logistically with their staff, with, local TV and newspaper reporters over the weekend that you're not going to get the kind of coverage. And you hire a manager, you want a good, hopefully positive media blitz that, it excites the fan base and gets everyone talking about your team. You don't do that if you do it on a Friday afternoon or on the weekend. You want to do it on a weekday, preferably, make an announcement and have a press conference on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, or even a Thursday. But that's not going to happen this week. I would be shocked if they tried to turn around a quick today press conference for a manager. They could announce today and do it early, like tomorrow, and hey, at least we'll get all of Friday, so it's not out of the question that it could happen today. But yeah, it is starting to trend at least toward an official announcement. Might not happen until next week. It's all speculation, though.
We haven't really talked about Don Mattingly too much because his name hasn't officially been out there, but I have seen it thrown out there just by friends, fans. You know what I mean? Like, have we really explored that possibility?
I have not totally explored it. I've talked to Woods about it.
Instant reaction.
I don't know. He's been manager of the Dodgers and the Marlins. Was not a disaster of a manager, but also did not have any notable successes with either of those teams. With the Dodgers, it came before their current run of division titles. And
his managerial record is 889 and 950. That's a 483 winning percentage.
Slightly below 500. But all experience, to an extent, is good experience.
Sure. That's a lot of games.
Even losing games, you learn a lot over the course of many seasons with a couple of different franchises. You learn things to do, you learn things not to do. And none of the candidates we've heard about have had any experience managing a Major League Baseball team. You've got to think that the Padres are at least kicking the tires on someone who has done this before. This is not a young team he's taking over. This is not a rebuilding roster where you get a manager who, hey, in 2 or 3 years, he'll be coming into his own along with the roster. We see that all the time. That's not what's going on with the San Diego Padres. You're in win now mode, and you need a manager who you believe, even if they've never done it before, you believe will be able to win now. There's no learning curve necessarily allowed for the new San Diego Padres manager like there might be with the new Colorado Rockies manager. No one's going to be mad. Hey, you get your feet wet first season, get some good things, some bad things going. That's not what the Padres are looking for. They need someone who can hit the ground running, who can run a spring training, who can put together a lineup, make good strategic decisions, and win on the margins like Mike Schilt did and maximize their number of victories. So I think there has to be some experienced managerial candidates out there that we have not heard about. Can't be that every single person the Padres interviewed has never made. Remember, every name we've actually heard. Pujols, Niebla, Hundley, Esposito, Flaherty, none of them have ever truly managed in the big leagues other than interim for a week in the case of Flaherty, or, when Mike Schilt gets ejected, Brian Esposito gets to manage for a few innings.
It was kind of when we talk about like at least the three main candidates that have been put out there, Niebla, Hundley, and Pujols. Like, really, the only knock against all three of them, the biggest knock, in my opinion, was the fact that they're first-time managers. But since nobody else has even come into the mix publicly that we know about, that looks like the direction they may be heading.
Well, yeah, to be fair, if they're going to look at that many first-time managers, they don't have a problem hiring a first-time manager.
If it's not as big of a problem for them, maybe it shouldn't be as big of a problem to us.
I just can't believe they wouldn't at least talk to one or two guys who have experience doing it, just for comparison's sake. You sit down like, okay, well, what are your thoughts? AJ loves getting everybody's thoughts.
I know.
It's one of the things I think it's one of his best qualities. He loves getting different opinions about his team, and he uses this interview process as well as hiring a manager to, bounce some balls off the wall and, hear what people are saying about his organization and his team. You get some real good insight because you'd be very candid in a managerial interview. If you're trying to get the job, you're going to say what you believe to the general manager. And even if you don't get hired, that's valuable to the general manager to get those kind of perspectives. And AJ likes that process. He's gone through it many times. He's going through it again this year. I've got to imagine there's some candidates that we have not heard about yet.
I know. I'd love to know that list of whether it was a phone call or a Zoom meeting, just any potential interest. Like, we talk about it all the time with these managerial openings and how there's, people will throw out the same 5 to 10 names: Ozzie Guillen, Joe Girardi, Mike Scioscia, Joe Madden, and we always answer with, well, why haven't they gotten picked up by anybody else? Why, they're the familiar names. You've seen them managing games, 10 years ago, but why aren't they currently involved in the game? That's a fair question, but I do wonder if AJ's picking up the phone and calling like a Joe Girardi and be like, hey, any interest in coming back to the game? Would love to get your thoughts on all of this. I have no idea who he's been talking to.
Not sure. All right, let's check traffic. We will come back, wrap up our managerial discussion, and then get you ready for hour number 2 of Ben and Woods coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Park 101 in Carlsbad, North County's football headquarters. Well, they already cleared that crash on northbound side of the 805 before the 5 merge, so there's some good news. Might still see a little debris in the roadway. Fortunately, nothing really slowing you down there. Football is back, and Park 101 in coastal Carlsbad is your game day headquarters. 10,000 square feet, 19 TVs, Bills Backers Club specials, cocktails, and ice-cold beer. Park 101 at the Carlsbad Village, North County's home for football. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3, The Fan.
A little bit of other Padres news. Yesterday, the team announced their spring training slate. Were we on the air when they did that, or was that after the show?
That was like right after our show.
I think it was right after our show yesterday. If you missed it, the Padres will open spring training next, I believe it's February 20th. Very early, Friday, February 20th, against the Seattle Mariners at the Peoria Sports Complex. Because of the World Baseball Classic, they're getting started a little bit earlier. Now they may have the report date may only be a couple of days earlier. They get to the games pretty quickly. They're like, the pitchers will come about a week and a half before, and the players will get there, and like 4 days later, they're like playing games.
It's like show up Monday or Tuesday, game Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, there's not a big run up. Some of the interesting notes: they'll play a game against the Great Britain team from the World Baseball Classic, and kind of a little preseason tune-up for one of the WBC teams on March 4th, I believe that is, at the Peoria Sports Complex.
I wonder if there's anybody on that team that we've...
Great Britain. I haven't seen a lot of the rosters yet. There's been a few commitments here and there for some of the other teams, so that they'll show up. They play, I think, every Monday. They've got home games. Tuesdays, they're road games. They got Wednesdays, a few of them off later in spring training, but usually right about the end of February is when they'll lose some players for the WBC. So whoever the new manager is going to be a kind of an added challenge, because they're going to show up. They're going to have a week and a half with some of their key players, and then those players will depart for probably about 2 weeks or so to compete in the World Baseball Classic, and then you won't see them again until the last week and a half or so of spring training. They'll come back and play a few more games. So whoever the new manager is going to have to kind of hit the gas and start very quickly, and probably use this off season like Mike Schilt did to establish a lot of the relationships with the players, because they're not going to get that month and a half of spring training that they normally do, at least with the number of the players with the Padres, the kind of guys that they have on their team. They're going to be gone for the WBC.
I wonder, do we know how many players from the Padres are expected to play in the WBC? And can a new manager come in and say, actually, I'd prefer if you didn't do that?
I don't think the new manager can say that.
Can any manager say that?
I don't think any manager can actually say that.
I wasn't sure.
Mean, they have to encourage players to make sure that they want to do this. I mean, I don't think they can force them to play in the WBC, but they're trying to make it into, this is an honor, represent your country. Sure. Shows that you're one of the best players in baseball, that you're doing this. So yeah, they can't stop anybody from going. I mean, other than, let's see, we have Manny and Tatis. Manny will play for Dominican, and Tatis, will they both be? I think they're both probably scheduled. Xander Bogaerts usually plays for the Netherlands, right? Don't they? Yep. They put together a team with some of the Aruban players and different ones. I wonder if Jackson Merrill will be playing on Team America. He would certainly be someone that would be potentially interested. As for the pitchers, that's the one that worries me the most. Like, I don't want
any of them.
You don't want your pitchers. Nick Pivetta could be an invitation.
Mason Miller.
Mason Miller absolutely would be someone that if I'm Team USA's manager, who's Mark DeRosa, I think that I'd want Mason Miller on my squad. So absolutely, probably the whole Padres bullpen would be of interest to teams. Cuba, I would think, would love having Adrian Morejon on the squad if they do that. I don't know how, is that still, do they not invite major leaguers back to Cuba, or they do because of the political situation?
I don't know.
Not sure about that either, but they will be Padres players who are gone during spring training, which just adds another whole element of it. But how many times have we said there's almost never a regular spring training for the San Diego Padres?
Can't remember when the last one was.
Feels like every single year there's something, whether it's...
It ain't going to be this upcoming spring training.
Nope.
And it's not going to be the
It's
one
gonna
after
the next
that.
one after that either, with the
And,
potential starting late if there's a lockout or something like that. So yeah, it's just the normal business of weird spring trainings for Major League Baseball and the San Diego Padres going forward. Plus, they have the added thing is every other year you've got a new manager, got different things going on. It's just rare that you have
your owner dies, you
Yeah.
have to trade your future Hall of Famer, another new manager.
So it's amazing how quickly those spring training will come around. It's November now. They're already going to be playing games on February 20th.
The Super Bowl. When is the Super Bowl? It's like the 15th,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. It's just day. I mean, yeah, they're halfway through the NFL season already. When the Super Bowl's over, we're back in business for baseball, and spring training is going to be underway in
It's
Peoria.
the 8th, not the 15th.
The 8th this year.
The Super Bowl.
All right,
Yeah.
so you got
We have a couple weeks.
probably. Well, no, I bet pitchers. If the
pitchers
first
will
game's
be-
on the 20th, I bet pitchers and catchers report the day after the Super Bowl. Probably.
Yeah.
Probably
Which I think they've
February
done
9th.
in years past. Yeah.
That's usually the case. So we are very close, probably 3 months away from pitchers and catchers reporting essentially to spring
Everything
training
got
in Florida and Arizona.
pushed up a little bit. Fantasy camp got moved up. So
Yep.
instead of like, we're usually there like the 3rd week of January, Martin Luther King holiday on that Monday. No, we're going like the first week we come back from a holiday break.
All right, I think perhaps the powers that be were listening to one of our topics yesterday. What the Aztecs did surprise some people. We'll get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Breaking and tragic news from the NFL as we start hour number 2 here this morning with Ben and Woods. Woodsy's off today. Me and Paulie get you going until 10 o'clock. Sammy Levitt's going to join us at 8 o'clock, but a statement from the NFL just a few minutes ago. We are deeply saddened by the tragic news of the passing of Cowboys Marshawn Kneeland. Our thoughts and prayers are with his girlfriend, Catalina, family, friends, and his teammates. We've been in contact with the Cowboys and offered support and counseling resources. No word on what happened. Kneeland, just 24 years old, was the second-round draft pick out of Western Michigan of the Cowboys last year, has been playing a little bit like special teams. Paulie said he had a touchdown on a punt block.
Yeah, I just saw a highlight clip from Monday Night Football this week. There was a blocked punt, and he ended up recovering it in the end zone for a touchdown.
Shocking.
Oh, man, that's so sad.
24 years old, and again, no indication on a potential cause of death, whether it was an accident or whatever happened or something medical. We will, of course, keep you updated if we hear anything, but clearly just a very sad story in the NFL.
Yeah, this is his first and only touchdown of his career just a few days ago. Probably as good as you could possibly feel in your life. And then just it's over a couple of days later. That is heartbreaking.
As a parent of a pair of 20-somethings, I look at his birth date, and it's 2001. Just that is...
it's so sad.
So unbelievable, shocking, and sad news. So if we hear anything updated on that story, we'll let you know. But Cowboys are scheduled to play again, on Sunday? Are they off this week? I don't know what their schedule is, but
I'm not sure.
I think they might have a bye this week, so I don't know. We'll get an update from Dallas on that story as any more details become warranted. Okay. Meanwhile, I mentioned the Aztecs.
Segue that, Ben.
It's a tough one, but had to get that news out there. So we were talking yesterday about. We've talked a couple of times this week about the attendance issues at SDSU football. Had the comments from the Wyoming coach, basically, mocking San Diego State's lack of attendance for the game last week, saying, "Hey, I'm so happy to be in Laramie, where everything's apparently peachy keen, and not in San Diego, where they only had 17,000 plus at the game against Wyoming last week." And we talked about some of the reasons why, San Diego State football hasn't necessarily gone the same direction as basketball, even though they're 7-1 now this season. Why haven't they, the attendance matched? And one of the big issues that we identified was cost of tickets at Snapdragon Stadium. There are tickets available for the Boise State game. We checked yesterday, but only like 300 of them were the cheapest tickets, like 60 to 80 buck tickets. And everything else was in the, club or premium sections. They were 100, 200 or more, which is a lot to go to a college football game. And we explained, well, this is the pricing structure that the Aztecs came up with to help pay back the debt, the loans that they took out to build Snapdragon Stadium a few years ago. And they can't simply just say, well, we're now going to charge a quarter of that price to get people into the stands, because they're not going to make enough money to pay off their loans. It's pretty simple, but they do need to get people into the stadium. Yesterday, one of our local politicians, Supervisor Jim Desmond, sent out a statement saying SDSU needs to basically lower ticket prices. They need to get more people in there. They need to make it more affordable. SDSU has responded and yesterday announced a 2 for $40 ticket deal for the Boise State game.
I just pulled it up online. It's right there on their main page. There's a little pop-up window, and it says San Diego State versus Boise State, 2 for $40. Buy tickets now.
Now, they did a flash sale, I think, for the Cal game as well, which was their best attendance of the season, where they did like a $15 ticket deal. This is $20. Don't know how many are available, but if you are interested in taking advantage, as you just said, it's online now. You can look that up and perhaps make plans to go see the Aztecs hosting Boise State, which could be a massive, massive game next week, especially if the Aztecs win on Saturday night in Hawaii. They'll be undefeated and could clinch, I believe, like a spot in the Mountain West Championship game next week, and even potentially home field advantage. They could host that game at Snapdragon Stadium. If they win their next two, they'll be in really good shape, potentially with like a 2-game lead and 3 to play over the rest of the Mountain West heading to the end of the year. So there's definitely the possibility that a Mountain West championship game could be coming to Snapdragon Stadium, and you win that one, well, you're at least eligible for the college football playoff. I know the number crunchers, and I saw them going through it on ESPN yesterday, the group of 5 possibilities. They had mostly, some of the other schools like Memphis were in like the 20% range. They had San Diego State at 4%, but they had a chance. That's not 0.
Yeah.
They had a 4%. They were the only Mountain West school that they considered that had any possibility of reaching the college football playoff. Now, it's a long shot. That's 1 in 20 essentially to get to the college football playoff, but it's not dead. That dream is still alive for San Diego State. If they win out, they could have a chance to at least make the college football playoff for the first time. So if you want to get excited about Aztecs football, here's your perfect confluence of events. $20 tickets, good opponent in Boise State, and a chance to take command in the Mountain West en route to what could be a very special season on Montezuma Mesa.
Yeah, I'm just looking right now. You can get the 240. It's all on the home side. It's the 300 level, and on the visitors side, you can get any seats up in the 200 level.
And by the way, you talk about 200 or 300 levels, upper deck.
It's still a good seat.
Snapdragon Stadium. They're all pretty good seats. I've been to a few games, sat in different places, and there's like no bad seats in that place because it's not a 60,000 seat stadium. For a football game, you feel remarkably close to the action.
Yeah, the top of the 300 level still feels like the middle of most
exactly
big NFL stadiums.
At the queue, it would feel like the middle of the stadium, even though you're at the top of the stadium at Snapdragon. The other Aztecs news that was out this morning from the UT are comments from J.D. Wicker, who is exploring the possibility of a contract extension already with Sean Lewis.
Ban.
Really fast. Remember, I don't know, a couple months ago, wondering if Sean Lewis was going to make it, past his second season as head coach at San Diego State. They just lost to Washington State. Not looking good after a 3-9 first season for Sean Lewis. Now the worry has flipped, and with so many openings around college football. And remember, I don't necessarily think that Sean Lewis is going to be the next coach at Florida and make that jump. But remember, Florida may hire someone from a school that will then need to hire someone from a lower division school. And that's when
San Diego State's so low. They're not even the feeder to the big schools. They're the feeder to the feeder to the big schools.
Yeah, they're 2 steps away from at least like the big SEC programs that are looking for a new head coach. I don't think anyone's jumping into the Mountain West. Now, if he makes it to the college football playoff, well, all bets are off, and he might be a candidate for any job. At this point, I don't think he's a candidate for one of those major jobs, but he could be a candidate for a Power 4 job somewhere else that is looking to fill their vacancy that happens at the end of the season. J.D. Wicker said, yeah, we've already had some at least preliminary discussions, feel comfortable about where we are. Sean Lewis signed a 5-year deal at the beginning of his tenure, so he's only in the second year of that deal. He's got 3 more years left, but as with any coaching deal nowadays, there's a buyout. I believe I saw it's $3 million if Sean Lewis wants to leave before February 1st, and then it'll be $2 million after February 1st. That doesn't come out of his pocket, though. If there's a school out there that has deep pockets and wants Sean Lewis, I don't think $3 or $2 million is really going to be the deal breaker, especially when you're seeing schools fire coaches with
like 50 plus million,
$50 to $70 million still left on their deals. Another school is going to be able to find the extra $2 or $3 million to buy out the coach that they want to hire. So yeah, there's a legitimate possibility that Sean Lewis could at least be considered somewhere else. And, J.D. Wicker wants to find a way to make sure he stays around. Now, is it too early in your mind, Paulie, to start like extension raises for Sean Lewis? It's 6 wins in a row, 7-1 record. Is that enough to tell you that he's the right coach for the job at San Diego State?
It's definitely trending that direction.
It's trending there.
It's absolutely trending there. And I don't really care one way or the other too much. But
it used to be like, hey, do something like win me a conference championship, then show me you come back and do it again the next year, and let's talk about a contract extension. Right. Now it's have one half of one good season. You had one bad season at 3-9. Now you've had one half
off
of
to a
one
really good
good
start.
season, and you already have enough leverage that the AD is calling into the office going, well, what do we think about the future here? I mean, one half of one good season.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Whatever happened to like actually accomplishing something? He hasn't done anything yet. He's on the road to potentially doing something, but he hasn't accomplished anything yet. And already those discussions are happening.
Coached a bowl game yet?
Hasn't qualified for a bowl game.
For one. Hasn't coached in one yet.
That's the main accomplishment. He has qualified for a bowl game this year. Has not gotten
the bar
to
that
one.
low here in San Diego.
I mean, the bar has to be Mountain West championships, right? I mean, and then Pac-12 going next year.
Yeah.
If you don't get to the college football playoff, and I don't think that's a reasonable expectation. I'd love to see it, but I'm not going to say your coach is a failure if he doesn't get you to the college football playoff.
Not here.
Not from where he was starting. That's unreasonable. But at San Diego State, you look at the schools they're competing against in football, there's no reason why you can't win your own conference. Boise State is the biggest team standing in your way. But everything else, there's no reason Wyoming, Colorado State, UNLV, New Mexico, Hawaii should have a better program, really in any sport, than San Diego State.
Agreed.
Resources, location, just overall campus, student body. There's no reason any of those schools should have a better athletic program in any sense than San Diego State. It's embarrassing that the baseball team hasn't been able to turn it around in recent years, and maybe they will under Kevin Vance, their new coach, and got Steven Strasburg back in the fold. But that level of competition, you should be dominating at this point if you're San Diego State. And I get it. Everyone's trying. There are some good programs with some history, UNLV, New Mexico in basketball, Boise State in football. But overall, San Diego State should dominate the Mountain West. And largely they have. In a lot of sports, they do. Basketball, they have more championships than any other school in basketball. I think that's what we care about the most. If you go to the Olympic sports, soccer, other sports, they've done pretty well over the years. So they've done a good job. But football is the one that golf, our beloved Steve Sugimoto, they have gotten to the national championship a few times. Yeah. But football is the one that everybody cares about. And you have to have success against those other schools in football.
It's the one everybody at the school cares about. Like the people that the decision makers, like they can't do their job well unless the football team.
No, and I think people are going, well, no, they really care about basketball more.
With their heart, yeah.
In their heart, yes. But with their wallets, they have to care about football the most.
Yep.
Because football is the most expensive sport to put on by a wide margin.
Until they close up shop with the football program, which I don't think is ever going to happen at San Diego State, like until they're fully only a basketball school like a Gonzaga. And like, again, that's not going to happen, but they just opened up a new football stadium. It's going to be a football school money-wise.
You have like 8 times more scholarships for your football program than you do for your basketball program.
Like, how about this? A couple of weeks ago now, I think it's been, we talked about the very generous donation from the guy that started Blender's Eyewear, a $5 million donation to the school, like $1 million a year in NIL money for the athletes.
That's mostly for the basketball
My
program,
first thought was, is that for the athletic program?
No,
or is that for the basketball team?
That's for the basketball team.
It is.
Yes. That is targeted for the basketball team. Now, some of that goes to the Campanile Foundation, just with any donation, that part of it will be able to use for general funds. But the majority of that donation is to retain and recruit basketball players.
I'm just saying that's the exception to the rule, not the rule itself, because most schools get a giant donation like
for
that.
Their football program.
90% of that money is going to the football team.
But there's no one in San Diego with the wallet and the heart to do that for the football team. For the basketball team, yeah. Coach Fisher and Coach Dutcher have engendered enough excitement and passion for their teams that people with money are willing to make donations. But we have yet to see that on the football side, really.
It's the chicken or the egg. You need the resources to develop the winning program, but you need the winning program to get the resources.
Very good point. All right, don't forget, all guests on Ben and Woods appear on the David P. Shapiro fan hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Got our Padres Smörgåsbord at the bottom of the hour, looking at free agent projections for some of the Padres free agents. 5 of the key ones including Michael King and Dylan Cease. But first, Don't Do This is coming up next. I had an NFL player fined in a very ironic moment for emulating a skit about getting fined or flagged by an NFL referee.
Saw this in real time on NFL Red Zone over the weekend. It was fantastic.
Pretty amusing.
We didn't talk about it on Monday, but now there's an update.
Yeah, he's officially been fined. So we'll
Okay.
talk about that coming up next with Ben and Woods. Paulie in today instead of Woods. Well, you're in today every day, but you're kind of co-hosting today with Woodsy at Disneyland on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey player, this is all this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, now open. and this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, now open.
Don't Do This, brought to you by Trust and Will.
Don't.
Thank you. Leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die.
Do.
Set up a Trust or Will online at trustandwill.com.
This
is a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. We've got a case of life imitating art in the NFL.
This is amazing.
And it costing running back Rico Dowdle of the Carolina Panthers $14,491. That was the fine reported yesterday by ESPN for his touchdown celebration on Sunday in a 16-13 win, in which he emulates, and I remember seeing this skit, probably saw it online, but from Key and Peele, in which football player named Hingle McCringleberry,
the best.
Rico Dowdle is also a great name, by the way. This could be like a real or fake football player name segments. Celebrates touchdowns by doing pelvic thrusts, or pumps, as they call them in the video. And in the skit, McCringleberry scores his touchdown, and he's allowed, according to the fake Key and P rules, 2 thrusts before he's flagged.
I think it's 1. You get 1. On the second one, you get flagged.
I thought the third one you get flagged. Is the second one?
I thought it was the second
whatever.
one.
You're allowed a certain number. He does one, and then
puts the hands up, and he does one hip thrust.
And it's fine.
And then there's a pause.
And then the referee is like right there, like
Jordan Peele's the ref, and he's
so
like
closely.
up close, right near his hips and his junk, and he's just sitting there and he's watching and he's waiting for it, and everyone's looking around, and then he just does the slightest hip thrust, and they throw the flag immediately.
Flag comes out. They do it a couple of different times. It's pretty funny. If you haven't seen the skit, it's amusing. So Rico Dowdle thought he would see if he could match that, and when he scored, he did a double.
There's 1
pelvic thrust. 1,
Wait for
2, and then the flag comes out, and he's fined and penalized by the NFL. I guess they don't like hip thrust celebrations at all, apparently. Skit or no skit, Dowdle was fined $14,491.
Lighten up, NFL. Lighten up, Roger Goodell. Get a sense of humor, please.
Ben-splaining pelvic thrusts here. Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah, the Hingle McCringleberry, anytime they did the NFL stuff on Key and Peele, very funny. Woods had never seen like the player introduction video. That was like what they were most known for. They did all these ridiculous player, hey, I'm Paul Reindl from San Diego State or whatever. And it was like Hingle McCringleberry from South Northwestern Technical College.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. I've got a bit of a hybrid. Don't do this and do this all in the same story. I'll start, I guess, with the do this.
DD mega do.
Congratulations to Alex Ovechkin, the NHL legend, who I can't even say is joining this new exclusive club. He has founded the 900 goal club. He got his 900th goal yesterday in the NHL. And so that right there is a do this. The don't do this comes from what the cameras picked up, where the goalkeeper for the other team retrieved the puck out of the net and then appeared to shove the puck down his large goalie pad and pants.
Just like back pocket, but
like
inside
right on the hip.
his
He's just
pants.
sliding the puck down there, and a referee sees the whole thing and skates over to the goalkeeper or the goaltender, and he goes, "Hey man, what are you doing? You gotta give that up. Give that up to them."
This was the St. Louis Blues, I believe, keeper.
Yeah, the Blues. He has to skate over, and he's fishing the puck out of his pants.
Suspicious. Like what?
Now, is he pulling a prank? Like you've seen, Manny does it all the time. Guy gets their first knock or something. They throw a fake ball into the crowd, or they hide the first one, or something. Or was he hoping
to put this thing on like eBay at some point? Like, hey, I've got Ovechkin's 900th goal puck right here.
If that were the case, I would definitely say it's a don't do this. If it's just a playful joke, then it's a do this. I think that's funny, but I guess
they didn't let him pull it off.
I haven't seen any comments or anything. He might have said something after the game.
Give it back. You're not skating away with the historic puck. 900 goals is nuts.
That's crazy.
Even Wayne Gretzky didn't score 900 goals. Now, Wayne Gretzky assisted on like 3 times as many goals as Ovechkin has. So in total points, he's so far ahead of everybody else, the great one. But in scoring, the king, and increasing his number over 900 is now Alex Ovechkin. All right, finally, do this. And
DD mega doo-doo.
this was nice. We had the ceremony, obviously, to rename Peter Seidler Way, Imperial Avenue, part of that. Now, Peter Seidler Way. We talked about that on the program the last couple of days. But in conjunction with that, this was very cool. The Padres and the Padres Foundation hosted their 3rd annual Care Package Assembly event in honor of Peter Seidler. Adrian Morejon and his wife Melanie were there. John Seidler, Eric Rupner, Tom Seidler were all there, putting together about 1,000 care packages for San Diegans experiencing homelessness. They put in some, warm clothing, jackets, sweatshirts, toiletries, snacks, and more. And the care packages are then donated to 9 different local organizations supporting unhoused San Diegans, including Alpha Project, Fathers Joe Villages, and more, so they can get those out to people who don't have a place to live, need some warm clothing, and they did it all to honor Peter Seidler, of course, was San Diego's most passionate and caring advocate for the unhoused in San Diego.
Yeah.
Just the incredible stories. I feel like you've all heard them, but they're always worth bringing up again, that the owner of the San Diego Padres would walk the streets of San Diego after dark at midnight and buy homeless people like a snack or a drink or a coffee or something
Like
from 7-Eleven. Often. He would do this all the time without any fanfare, without any publicity. Finally, someone got a wind of it. I think it was the late Bryce Miller who found out about it and went with them once to document it. So otherwise, we may have never known what was going on with Peter Seidler. Of course, he did.
That's how he would have wanted it. Honestly.
Well, of course.
He would have wanted to stay completely off everyone's radar with that. But I have no problem exploiting his good doings.
No, and if it inspires other people to do good things, that's why you really should publicize when you're doing something good, not so you get the credit and we can say, oh, what a great person he is. It's to inspire other people to follow in footsteps. And if just 1 or 2 people are inspired by this to help someone else out, then it is worth doing. And it was a very good thing by the Padres and the Padres Foundation with their care package assembly event in honor of Peter Seidler yesterday. And that is don't and do this for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we've got our Padres Smörgåsbord coming up. We'll discuss the athletic contract projections for 5 Padres free agents: Dylan Cease, Michael King, Luis Arraez, Ryan O'Hearn, and Robert Suarez. What's it going to take to keep any or all of those players in the Padres fold, or what will they be getting on the open market when they go elsewhere? That is coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, played at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
If you're looking for something to do tonight, may I suggest a plan to head down to 7 Mile Casino? It is San Diego's closest and best card room, offering a great action at their tables: California-style blackjack, Texas Hold'em poker, Pai Gow, and Baccarat. It does not require the deep drive into the East County as some of the other card rooms do. No big parking garage or slot machine-filled casino to deal with. Simply walk right in. You're sitting down at the tables. They've got limits for everybody. Got some lower limits if you're just going to have some fun. They also cater to high-limit players at 7 Mile Casino. If you're looking for real Texas Hold'em action, got some good tables, some no-limit action going on all hours of the day, open 24/7. And that's not just the card room. That's also Sammy's inside 7 Mile Casino, 24/7 players menu. Their kitchen is open all hours of the day. You don't see that in San Diego very often. We're not really a 24/7 town, but if you're looking for a great meal, you can do so at 2 a.m. at Sammy's at 7 Mile, which is fantastic. Other times of the day, you can go enjoy their great patio overlooking San Diego Bay, or the bar, full bar, televisions, sit down, enjoy a drink, and then sit down at one of the tables. Just lots of different ways to enjoy yourself at 7 Mile Casino. Check it out today. It's just 7 minutes from downtown.
pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, now open.
Some intriguing news
Very
that
interesting.
Padres fans might be interested in out of Toronto. Get to that in just a second. First, a reminder, we've got our biggest fan announcement this morning coming up at 9 a.m. We will announce the next name on our list for the biggest fan. If you hear your name at 9 a.m., you'll have 10 minutes to call us back and qualify for the grand prize, a night in the Odyssey Suite at the Padres game next season. 20 tickets for you and your friends, and the fan staff will show up and watch the game along with you. You can register your name at 973thefan, sd.com/biggest-fan in order to potentially have your name called. We're 3 for 3 so far this week in our biggest fan announcements on Ben and Wood. So let's make it 4 for 4 at 9 o'clock. Everybody be listening when we announce our next name. Sammy Levitt's going to be in studio at the top of the hour, but Paulie just pointed out a story from John Heyman of the New York Post that involves a name that, we were talking about in our first hour.
Yeah, how about that?
That is Don Mattingly, now former bench coach of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, Joel Sherman and John Heyman with the New York Post right here on their front page of their sports page. Don Mattingly is leaving the Blue Jays after the World Series heartbreak with 2 managing jobs open, Post exclusive. So reading it here, he is stepping away from the Blue Jays bench coach job, but it says here very clearly he is not retiring from baseball. He wants to stay involved in the game. His contract was up with the Blue Jays, so rather than renegotiating to stay as bench coach, he would like to explore other opportunities, it looks like.
Interesting. Now,
Not a retirement.
I will ask the question. If he was about to be hired by the San Diego Padres, why go through the whole, yes, I'm still exploring other opportunities. Just, you'll find out what I'm doing in a couple of days. Just hang on. So I don't know why there would be need to even step away from the Blue Jays. If you were going to be hired as manager, they can't stop you from taking a promotion in Major League Baseball. So I don't think this necessarily means he's a finalist or a candidate. But, I have heard the name mentioned possibly. Maybe the Colorado Rockies are looking at Don Mattingly as well, or maybe he just wants a different opportunity in a different city and may return as a bench coach somewhere that is looking for a new coach. Padres will probably looking for a number of new coaches on their staff, whoever they hire. We know Victor Rodriguez is already leaving as hitting coach and going to the Houston Astros. So that's at least one position that the new manager will need to fill going forward. And Don Mattingly is now a name that's available, whether it's for manager or on a coaching staff, possibly in the future.
I'd be surprised if it was for anything other than a manager job. And I know there's only 2 available, San Diego being one of them. Can't totally see him if he wanted to be a bench coach and just make that lateral move. I don't know why you leave the World Series runner-up, best team in the American League, hoping to get back there. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense for him to leave as bench coach of the Blue Jays to go be bench coach of the Minnesota Twins.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you there. There's something
You're going up. You're going.
Something is brewing somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it comes to fruition or not, it definitely feels like something is brewing in Don Mattingly's universe at the moment. So keep you updated on what's going on there. Also, just a little nugget from Dennis Lynn, our friend from The Athletic, who hasn't had a lot of news lately, did his off-season primer yesterday that he posted about the Padres. And the one line that I noticed that was interesting, because remember, it was Dennis in The Athletic that had posted the original story wondering about AJ Preller's future with the San Diego Padres. Like, is he going to get a contract extension? Could there be interest in him going elsewhere? Will there be a mutual parting of the ways early for AJ Preller? Of course, Eric Rupner came on our program and said he is not going anywhere. They are already talking, him and John Seidler, about a contract extension, but there has not been a
like
contract
3 weeks
extension.
now.
That's been like 3 weeks, and there has been no news, at least, released from the team. But one little nugget that
Hang on, real quick. I expected Dennis's story to come out when it did. That was right. That was the time for that type of a story. And then Eric Rupner came on our show, like you said, the next Monday and said that they are working on that. If Eric Rupner never came on our show and mentioned that, would you be panicking at all? Or do you think there would be panic about why haven't they announced an extension for AJ Preller yet?
I think he
because he mentioned that's kind of accelerated the panic. Like, all right, well, it's been 3 weeks now, he said.
I think if he hadn't said anything, that story could have spiraled a little bit more than it did. I think he tamped it down at the time. Now, it's been, as you said, more than 3 weeks, as Dennis wrote. As of yesterday morning, the Padres had yet to announce a managerial replacement or a contract extension for Preller. In parentheses, though, he says, team and industry sources say that could change any day, and that Preller has seemed as involved as ever in the search for Schultz's replacement. So if there was any smoke, like, there's no contract extension, maybe AJ is leaving, would you let him take the lead in hiring a new manager if you expected him to be gone in a couple of weeks?
Right.
No, of course you wouldn't. So the idea and the sign that AJ Preller is once again leading the charge to hire a new manager makes you pretty confident that he doesn't think he's going anywhere, and the Padres don't believe he's going anywhere. Whether he gets the contract extension now, in a week, in a month, at spring training, or even at the end of next season, it sounds like for now everyone still believes it's business as usual at Petco Park.
I do believe the contract that he's currently on, that extension came in like February.
Yes, 2021.
Yes, it was a while ago, but it was not like October, November.
No, I don't think he was going into his last year of the contract at that time, though. I think he might have had
probably right about
a couple of years
Yeah.
left. So this is the first time he's actually going into the last year
a lame duck season
of a contract, a lame duck season, which makes it a little bit different. But anyway, just thought I'd throw in that note from our friend Dennis Lynn from The Athletic. Let's check traffic. We'll get to some contract projections in the offseason for your San Diego Padres in our Smörgåsbord next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Covered California. Got a number of things going on here, guys. 2-car collision on the coastline, south on 5, right past Birmingham. It's over to the right shoulder. Tow truck is on scene of a motorcycle accident, westbound King Freeway, right at the southbound 15 connector ramp. People are dropping stuff in the roadway. Northbound 805 before Plaza, getting reports of some sort of metal object in the slow lane. And northbound 5 before Old Town, a roll of turf in middle lanes. Now, if only somebody drop a surfboard in the lane, we have surf and turf north 5 before Old Town. Oh, no. Did I just do a dad joke? Reminds me of that one jock that Woodsy and I used to work with many years ago. Hey, everyone. Open enrollment is open, and so is Covered California. Open to questions, real answers, and to helping you get health insurance. Covered California. For the love of Californians, visit coveredca.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Padres Smörgåsbord.
All right, never mind.
Yeah.
Call it something else.
I liked your surf and turf joke, Kelly, too. A dad joke right up my alley.
She said,
I don't
reminds
know.
me of the jock that Woods and I used to work with.
There's only a couple.
I don't know.
But I don't know
him.
which one she's referring to.
My guess is they're walking up to the rope drop right about now, so he probably didn't hear that.
That's true.
I'm curious who that was.
All right, Padres Smörgåsbord today. Tim Britton of The Athletic had a long piece yesterday where he did some homework and projected salaries for key free agents around the league, including 5 key free agents from the San Diego Padres. And he explained his methodology, went through comparing other guys who were in similar free agent situations with similar numbers, both over the last 5 years and most recently. Their age is a factor. The economic environment was a factor. He added inflation. He also said, and I tended to be low on my projections last year, so bumped him up a little bit more than we thought, just so I could try to be right. He wants to be right on these things. And I was curious to see, what did he come up with for these 5 Padres free agents, and what do Paulie and I think, and whether you'd be interested or if you think those numbers are accurate. So let's start with the guy I think we all agree is probably pitched his last inning for the San Diego Padres. That is Dylan Cease.
Dylan Thief.
He is projected by Tim Britton to get 6 years, $174 million.
That actually sounds pretty damn close
That's
to what
just
I would
under
expect to see.
$30 million a year, which this had 2 seasons with like 4.5 ERA in the last 3 years. It's had 1 good season, 2 not great seasons in the last 3 years.
I think you're looking at, the going rate for a starting pitcher that can give you that many innings pretty much every single year, not going to get hurt, durable. Are they the most aesthetically pleasing innings? Not always. Does he have some of the best swing and miss stuff in the game? Yeah. I think you are looking at $25 to $30 million for that guy.
He kind of compared him to guys like John Lester and John Lackey who entered free agency. You're going to get the strikeouts from Dylan Cease. That's always valuable. No matter what the ERA is, strikeouts are always going to be valuable, and you get durability, or at least you think you get durability with Dylan Cease. I'm always hesitant to bet on durability, because if you're paying a guy for 200 innings or 180 to 200 innings, you can't necessarily promise. Just because he's done it in the past doesn't mean he's going to keep doing it in the future. Everybody's arm has a breaking point.
Sure.
And part of me says the longer a guy goes without an injury, doesn't that make him more likely to get injured next year as opposed to less likely? Or you can say, hey, maybe the guy's just durable. He's like a modern day Nolan Ryan, just doesn't get hurt, and he's going to be out there. And if that's the case, that's a huge value. There's at least a few teams out there that are probably willing to bet on Dylan Cease. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate number for Dylan Cease. And I don't expect the Padres to pay.
No, God, no. Heading into the 2025 season, if he had a good year, I assumed, I don't know about the number of years, but I assumed that total dollar amount would start with a 200
Yeah,
million.
if he had a better season, I would think so.
He might have cost himself 20 to 30 million on a not great year, but he still showed enough that a team's going to be like, yeah, here you go.
How about Michael King? This one's interesting. He was a very difficult one, Tim said, to project because, well, he just doesn't have the resume necessarily that most free agents do. Had 1 amazing season as a pitcher and 1 injury-filled season as a pitcher. He went with 3 years, $75 million, but expects an opt-out like after every season in that deal for Michael King. So if he goes back and pitches well next year, he can opt out and get a much bigger, like a Dylan Cease type deal 1 year later. If he doesn't, then he can opt back in for another $25 million.
Oh my gosh. If Michael King's seasons here in San Diego were flipped and his first year was injury ridden, but when he was out there, like, he saw some pretty nasty stuff and then he just threw everything out the door and just like was killing it this year, he'd probably be making $200 million this offseason.
I feel like Michael King's weird injury, though, the nerve thing, that feels more fluky than anything else. I'm not so worried about it. I think Michael King actually may get more than that, like a 4th year.
You've seen enough.
A little bit more. I've seen enough.
You've seen enough that if the Padres' financial situation was different and they had the money, you would lock him up for like a 6-7 year deal.
At the current financial situation, I would look at Michael King potentially on at least 4 or 5. If other teams are only offering 3, I think about offering 4 or 5 and bet on Michael King. Bet on the person.
Will he bet on that?
Bet on the stuff. I don't know, but if that's the if that's the projection, I'm interested. I'm very interested in Michael King at $25 million a year.
I think if I'm Michael King, you're probably pretty okay with 25 a year. I think with the opt-outs though, because he didn't really get that chance to have like a dominating 2025 and go into a full, like try to get that real big bag in the off season. So he's going to want to do that again once he has a full healthy season and performs better.
How about Robert Suarez? 3 years, $54 million.
I can see a team paying that, and it won't be the San Diego Padres.
It won't be the Padres. I can see even more. I mean, there's a couple teams that need a closer. The Dodgers need a closer. They could bid that thing up a little bit higher. I don't know that he'll be a Dodger, but
I don't know if we saw him every night. I felt like he had a really, really good season. And yet, for whatever reason, almost every single outing,
really
I was waiting for him to blow the save.
That's you.
And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I wasn't super comfortable still with Suarez out there. But the numbers are what the numbers are. And his resume is what it is.
I think he might get a little more than that. 4 years, more in the $70 to $80 million.
He's going to get paid. Absolutely.
Luis Ariz, 2 years, $30 million. That would be a raise over what he was making this year. I don't think he's getting a raise. I think after a down season and the current state of what's valuable in baseball, there will be teams interested. I think it's going to be less. I think it's 2 years, 22 to 24 million. I still don't think the Padres should be major players with Luis Ariz. They need power. They don't need Ariz filling a spot in their lineup this season. And then finally, Ryan O'Hearn, 2 years, $36 million. So $18 million a year. He has less of the track record, but is coming off an all-star, really good season. That seems about right to me. 2 years, $36 million seems about right for Ryan O'Hearn. And I would be interested if I was the Padres in Ryan O'Hearn at something around that price tag.
I don't know that you're going to get anybody better to play first base for less, right?
Agree.
So
I mean, Pete Alonso is going to cost twice as much and more years. So, if that's something that you can convince Ryan O'Hearn to do, I'm very much in the conversation for Ryan O'Hearn. 2 years, around $36 million. I wonder what Sammy Levitt has to say about it all.
Sammy.
He has just stepped into the studio. He will join us for the second half of Ben and Woods. Looking forward to that. Coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. Halfway home on a Wednesday. Welcome back into Ben and Woods. Woods will be back tomorrow. He's at Disneyland celebrating Taylor's birthday with the family today. Glad he could get away. He could almost guarantee that there was going to be a Padres managerial announcement while he was gone, just by leaving. But it hasn't happened yet.
He assumed it would be yesterday, right around 10:03. And then he would just have to stew in it for like 48 hours.
Yeah, until he'd miss the press
hours.
conference, he'd miss everything. Well, maybe there's another force working against him, because joining us now for the rest of the program is our friend off-season, Sammy Levitt, Padres pre- and post-game show host. And Sammy just revealed to me that he has a reason to think that the press conference and announcement will come next week. And why is that, Sammy?
That's because I'm out of town next week. Going to Hawaii for the first time. So that should be great. But I'll admit, first time. I've been rooting very hard for this news to come out this week and have a press conference this week. But with every second, it appears that's less likely.
Yeah, we talked earlier about how you don't really want to do a Friday news dump. A manager hire is an exciting moment in an offseason that gets people talking about your team. And the last place you want to do that is like on a Friday afternoon as everyone's getting ready to go out, bars, weekend plans, even the reporters. Press conferences don't go well on Friday afternoons or Saturdays. You want to do it on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, have a nice little news cycle for a few days with different stories. So, yeah, Thursday announcement for a Friday news conference is the absolute latest you could do.
Although, if you remember 2 years ago, I was talking about this with Adam when we were trying to determine plans on when they would announce this and when there might be a press conference. If you remember a couple of years ago, Mike Schultz, they had the press conference the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And I remember at the time thinking, man, like on the Monday, and I don't think it had been announced yet, like, man, is this going to happen after Thanksgiving? Because at this point, you're getting down to the wire of you can't really do a press conference Wednesday. It feels like Tuesday
People are already
is the
leaving
last
town
day
and everything. So
yeah, we're not quite there yet. But I'll tell you what, and we were talking about it during the break just now, the Don Mattingly story is interesting. That definitely makes you raise your eyebrows, because it would appear kind of unusual that a guy like that would voluntarily leave what I would say is a premier bench coach job to take a lateral move, unless there is something cooking somewhere else.
Yeah, he his contract was up, but I've got to imagine the Blue Jays would have happily,
I would think,
brought him back coming off the success, 2 inches away from winning a World Series. Like, let's roll it back with the same coaching staff. So the fact that he's walking away voluntarily does lead you to believe that something is cooking in the Don Mattingly universe. Is it with the Padres?
Yeah.
I don't really have any idea at all. But there are only 2 jobs, at least managerial jobs, that are out there right now, and that's Padres and the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, and look, I know people like to get on the Rockies, and rightfully so, but it is one of 30 major league jobs. They are going to have a new president of baseball operations, general manager. I know there's been a lot of stuff going on there about them interviewing people, and then everybody's out, and then they're talking to Adam Ottavino about it, who's never had a front office job.
I thought he was still playing.
But he's never had a front office job in his life. So I know it's easy to.
You told me he started 38 games for the Rockies this year. I would have said, Adam Ottavino. Yeah, he's still there, right? What?
You can make fun of the Rockies, but it is a managerial job.
And I will make fun of the Rockies.
Yeah, of course. But we'll see. I mean, look, it has been, I think, to me, interesting that there has not been a ton of reporting or rumblings on what is going on. We heard about that long interview with Albert Pujols. We've heard about some of the other names that have interviewed, Nick Hundley and Ruben Niebla. It sounds like are the other 2 that are really being focused on. But I find it really interesting that we haven't heard much. So it does make your antenna go up a little bit when you hear this Don Mattingly story.
Padres have gotten better over the years at sealing up the leaks that come out, the informational leaks. Now, with Albert Pujols, he's a very famous person and is easily spotted by people around.
And probably talks to a lot of people.
And also has his own orbit, agents.
He was literally on the MLB Network desk for World Series coverage.
Yeah. Disappeared for a day.
When they interviewed
and then came back. I mean, you can't really hide that news about Albert Pujols. We all know Ruben Niebla pretty well. So, that news that is going to kind of get out, and Nick Hundley has deep ties here in San Diego. So, but any other candidate, not a single word really about an interview or what stage of the process they're at. So they've plugged any leaks from the front office pretty well at Petco Park in the last few years.
Yeah, they've done a good job. And it was kind of that way with the Mike Schultz hiring too a couple of years ago. And obviously, when Bob Melvin left and all that went down. So I'm with you.
Bob Melvin threw us all for a loop.
Yeah,
no one
absolutely.
saw that one coming.
No.
And I have to think that there's still a mystery candidate out there, whether it be Don Mattingly or someone else. I said in the first half of the show, Sammy, they have to interview guys with managerial experience. They aren't only interviewing first-time managers to take over the Padres. They may hire a first-time manager, but there's no way they're not at least considering some guys with big league managerial experience for this job. The last two that they hired had big league managerial experience. Why wouldn't they at least look that direction again this time?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think Don is somebody that's really, really, really respected. I mean, look, he did have winning teams with the Dodgers. Now, that was a team that had a very high payroll for that time. And I don't know if I'd have to go look into it a little bit more. I don't know if the ending was sour in LA, but it was a little weird because he had 90+ win teams before he got let go. And then he goes to Miami. And how do you even judge that with the Marlins? I mean, whatever. But it's interesting. It is. And we shall see. I would have thought you would have had a press conference by the end of this week based on how it was looking, but we shall see.
We can do a deeper dive later.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, though. First time to Hawaii. Now, a little different going from the East Coast to Hawaii rather than the West Coast. It's an extra 5 hours of flying. When you took assuming there was at least a tropical vacation or two in your life
there was,
growing up, where do you go on the East Coast?
We would go. So it took us a while until I think I was like late middle school to start going on the tropical vacations. We did Arizona. We did California. I don't think we came down to San Diego. We were more in Orange County, like Newport, Laguna Beach, and we did LA. And then we went to Playa del Carmen in Mexico, which is near Cancun.
Yeah.
A couple of times. We went to Grand Cayman a couple of times. We went to Turks and Caicos a couple of times. Where else? Turks and
I'm not
Caicos,
feeling bad
Grand
for you
Cayman. No, they're great.
Yeah,
and we went on a cruise once. Yeah, so you can, you do Mexico, that side of Mexico. You can do the Caribbean. We went to the Dominican Republic 1 year. So yeah, I was very, very lucky. I got a very nice tour of Caribbean vacations over the years.
Now it's very different. Now, Paul, what tropical vacations have you been on?
Ooh. I have not traveled as much.
I know you haven't. That's why I'm wondering if you've done
tropical
Mexico. Have you done Caribbean, Hawaii?
I've done like Ensenada, like drive
down to
like
Mexico
Baja a little bit. I've been to Belize, and that was a lot of fun. Beautiful. And that's probably it as far as like the tropical.
Wow.
I haven't been to Hawaii. Haven't been to Cancun.
Spring break you didn't do with the boys at San Diego State.
We did
big
Palm
spring break
Springs
trick.
a couple
Palm
times.
Springs. Okay.
Yeah.
I never did spring break. That was not my thing.
No, neither.
Spring break.
Yeah, Sammy and I were partying.
It's a little bit different when you go to school at San Diego State.
Yeah.
Spring break is just kind of always spring break.
Right.
A little bit.
Right.
People come to San Diego for spring break.
Right.
Spring break and bachelor parties. Can't really get into. I have a hard time getting into the concept of bachelor parties.
Yeah, mine have been very tame.
I would imagine
that
so.
I've attended for sure.
I would imagine so.
And then you were just in New York back in the back at home.
Yeah, we're going all over the place. It was good. Saw my parents, and it's always good to be back there and catch up with my friends, have a bagel, have a slice of pizza. So it was good. It's that time of year for me to get home and do some travel.
Now in Hawaii, are you staying at hotel, Airbnb? What's the plan? Hotel?
Yes.
Like Waikiki?
I think that's part of it. And then we're doing, I was very minimal on the planning of it.
You're just along for the ride.
Yeah, because my brother and his girlfriend are going and they've been there. So they're more in on it.
They'll tell you where to stay.
Yeah, they were also planning it during the baseball season. So I was kind of out on the planning, but I know it is Oahu and I know we are staying in two separate places. I believe one of them is Waikiki. Yes.
Okay.
but I will have more info after I go.
And as Paulie pointed out, you'll be there maybe for the Aztecs game on Saturday night.
That's why you're going out.
Don't know if that's part of your vacation planning, but something big happened. You could be
Aztecs
there
are
on
good.
the scene for us.
I mean,
big,
Aztecs are playing
big
well.
game against Hawaii on Saturday night.
Is that now? I admittedly I don't follow Aztec football super closely. Is that a big game for San Diego State?
It's a fairly big game because Hawaii is currently, I think, tied for third in the Mountain West. The Aztecs are first, so
It's big in the sense that you don't want to lose it.
And the Aztecs' one loss was to who?
Washington State,
Okay.
out of conference. So they're 4-0 in the Mountain West. Boise State is 4-1, and then Fresno State, Hawaii, and New Mexico are all 3-2.
Okay.
So the top two teams get to the conference championship. So if you beat Hawaii, you've basically knocked them out, and you are narrowing your path to get, or widening your path to get to the conference championship game and host the conference championship game. Hawaii is always one of the toughest places to go win, though, because of the travel, and you play at a weird time. It's usually like middle of the night where you're from, and they play 6 o'clock in Hawaii, but like 8 or 9 o'clock in San Diego, I think. So it's always a tricky game for any team to have to go on the road to play in Hawaii.
Interesting. Yeah. What would San Diego State have to do to make the college football playoff?
Well, they have to win all their games.
They have to win all their games.
And that doesn't,
they would
and that
need a
doesn't
lot
even
of help.
Come, yeah, that doesn't
Undefeated
even
in
come
convincing
close.
fashion.
Right.
So that would help, but that still honestly would not get them into the college football playoff. It would require a lot of chaos in like the American Athletic Conference, where North Texas and Memphis and Navy all kind of beat up on each other,
Right.
and they ended up with 2 or 3 losses each. And then San Diego State was sitting there as like the only group of 5 champion with 1 loss,
Right.
riding a 12 or 11 game winning streak at the end. And you're going like, and it's still, they'd go like, but still Memphis with 3 losses might be better than San Diego State with 1 loss, because the competition, San Diego State just hasn't really played anyone. Cal and Washington State are the only, and Washington State isn't a big school, and they lost to them. So they didn't build their resume up very well in the offseason.
My alma mater, Northwestern, is playing at USC, I believe, tomorrow night, which I'm not going to. Seemed like a long way to go, and I'm not that into. I wasn't that committed to Northwestern football to head up there, but
it's as close as they're going to get.
Do you ever broadcast any football games?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah. For WNUR, student radio station. Yes, a lot.
Nice.
So they'd have a student broadcast and like a regular.
They were
commercial broadcast.
They would.
As well.
They were on WGN radio in Chicago, which was always interesting because that was a big station and felt very big for Northwestern football.
Does, yeah.
Sure.
But they were on WGN forever, and then they would have the student radio broadcast,
because that's the Cubs station during baseball season.
It was.
It's not anymore.
I think they're on.
They have their own network, don't they?
670 The Score.
Which
I think
radio,
I think it's an Odyssey station, sister station.
Yeah,
some would call it.
They are.
So I think they're on there now, but they were on WGN forever.
Bulls, Bears. I mean, there's a lot of sports in
WGN still
that
around?
town.
Well, we're talking about WGN, the radio. Yes, there's WGN radio. Obviously, does the TV station still exist?
TV
I think it does in
the
Chicago.
Cubs are marquee sports network now.
Yeah, I think it does in Chicago. I'm almost positive there is still a WGN TV in Chicago now. I don't know if they're an affiliate of a network. Like, I don't know if they're an ABC, NBC. I don't
They were
think
always
so.
an independent. It was
I think
one of
they're
the
independent.
two channels
like,
other than the networks you could get when I was growing up. It was
so that'd be like the equivalent of like
TBS and
KUSI
WGN.
here.
We're like, hey,
Yeah.
I can watch Chicago stuff.
Every
or
kid watched
Atlanta
a lot
stuff.
of Cubs games.
Right.
Because everybody had WGN.
I'm almost positive it's still a pretty major TV channel.
I think
Chicago.
so. I think it's still a player.
Yeah, but
All right.
independent.
We've got Sammy in studio. Before we get to, and we'll get his thoughts on our Padres Smörgåsbord contract projections coming up as well. Before that, though, it's Thursday, Throwback Thursday, which means we're going to play a game of real or fake. Chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas to see Sammy Hagar. If you'd like to be our contestant, you can call in now, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Game of real or fake coming up next year on Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. First, let me ask Sammy, do you have a will, Sammy? You have one yet?
No.
Will or trust?
I do not.
I will excuse you. You're still a very young man.
Yes.
Unattached, but Don't let it go too long.
You can't let it go too long.
Before you go to trustandwill.com.
Never too early.
It's never
to get
too
working
early.
on
It can be too late, but it's never too early to get your affairs in order. Because once you do, you've got the peace of mind that you don't really have to think about it anymore. And Trust and Will makes it so simple. It's an online process. Takes less than an hour, essentially. You just answer some online questions. You can get a will, or you can even get a trust, which can help keep your family out of probate court after you're gone. The probate court is bad. It's long, it's expensive for your family. They might not have access to your assets, like your property, your 401k, for months and months and months while these things are decided in an impersonal courtroom setting. But if you have a trust, they can have access right away. Everything's already taken care of for them before you're even gone, which is what Trust and Will does. So go to trustandwill.com, answer all the questions, and then use the code radio20 at checkout. You're going to get 20% off your will or your trust simply by using that code at checkout. They'll mail it to you. Then you put it into a filing cabinet, a safe somewhere. Let your family know. Have that peace of mind that you've gotten it done, and you don't need to worry about it anymore by going to trustandwill.com. Use code radio20 at checkout at trustandwill.com.
This pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, now open.
Well, let's appear on the David P. Shapiro fan hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. Well, technically, that's not true. Sammy is a guest of the program, and he is just sitting right here in front of me. It's good to have you in, Sam.
It's great to be here. By the way, I was thinking during the break with Woodsy at Disneyland. Speaking of places I'm going, I have been, I haven't been. I've never been to Disneyland.
Never.
I've been to Disney World in Florida a couple of times.
I went once to Disney World. I preferred Disneyland.
Interesting. But Disney World is a lot
bigger. Disneyland's
okay.
Better.
Is bigger always better?
Bigger is not always better.
No, it's not.
Plus, there's no Matterhorn at Disney World, but there is at Disneyland.
Interesting.
Although I saw that Taylor didn't want to ride the Matterhorn.
No,
because he didn't want someone to hit him with a horn. Apparently.
Now, do they have Space Mountain at Disneyland?
Yeah,
they do have Space Mountain at Disneyland.
I do like Space Mountain. So at some point, we'll see. Maybe before spring training.
Maybe that's who I need to go with. See, I said I can't go alone because that's creepy, but maybe Sammy and I can go to Disneyland together at some point.
Either way, whether you take Taylor or Sammy, I want to document all
Still
of it.
documented. All right, Sammy, it's Throwback Thursday. We got a contestant on the line. Let's get to it. It is time to play Real or Fake.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods.
Yeah, you can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
The people is Clinton is our contestant in this case. Hello, Clinton. How are you?
Hey, what up, guys? I'm good.
You've got Sammy to help you out. You are the phone a friend over there. If Clinton ever needs any advice on any of these real or fake categories, it is brought to you by Bay Alarm. Security and fire alarms for every business. We got you. And if you get 4 out of 7 correct, Clinton, you will qualify for our grand prize monthly drawing trip for 2 to see Sammy Hagar in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to his March 20th show, a 2-night stay at the Park MGM, and a $100 gas card. You can check out Sammy's residency at the Dolby Live at Park MGM by going to Ticketmaster.com. So we had a bunch of fun with a special game on Monday involving college basketball players, current college basketball players with some unusual names. I actually have a few left over, so I thought we'd revisit that one more time. So, Clinton, I'm going to give you a name.
Oh, boy.
You tell me if it is a real college basketball player or it's a fake I've thrown in to fool you. I don't know if Sammy knows any of these, but he's more than
Clinton, did you happen to hear
help.
this? Did you happen to hear our game on Monday when we did this?
I heard part of it. Yeah,
All right.
I clip in and out sometimes. So.
Okay. All right, so good luck. Here we go. Round number 1. Joey Tribbiani, real or fake college basketball player?
That's big time fake.
That is fake. Joey from Friends.
Yeah.
All right, 1 for you. You need
You didn't even
3
try
more.
on that
Didn't
one.
even try. It was very easy. All right, King Prince. King Prince, real or fake?
That's real.
That one is fake.
Oh,
that's all right.
I don't know my college basketball.
That's right. No one knows any of
You
these
wouldn't know
guys.
any of these.
You were not going to
Nobody-
know any of these guys. All right, that's 1 and 1. We go to round number 3. Wiggy Ball, real or fake?
The last name is what now?
Wiggy Ball, real or fake?
Oh gosh. I'm going to say real again.
And you'd be right. I don't think he's related to Lonzo and LaMelo, but he is a guard for Louisiana Monroe. Wiggy Ball. All right, that's 2. You're halfway home. Let's go to round number 4. Dr. Bradley.
Dr. Bradley?
Dr. Bradley. Stat to the ER
Sure,
stat. Dr. Bradley.
Why not? Yes, let's do it. I can see a person have a doctorate in being college basketball.
And you would be correct. Guard from
But-
Bethune-Cookman.
Nice.
You're correct, but it's not like he's graduated with a doctorate and he's a doctor. His name is DOCTOR.
Yeah, he's Dr.
Bradley.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, round
The
number
doc.
5. Chandler Bing, real or fake, Clinton?
That's big time fake.
That is absolutely
Oh
real.
my
He's actually a really good player. He's
What?
a forward for Vanderbilt.
What?
No way! Somebody named their kid after Chandler Bing.
I know.
So
I-
Joey Tribbiani
I threw in
fake.
Joey Tribbiani to make the Chandler Bing thing work a little bit
That's-
later.
good job on
That's
that.
called
one.
Ben,
Good job. At
that's
least it's
called
not the
Ben
TV
playing
guy
the
thing.
long
Son of a
con on real or fake. But don't worry, you're
Oh
still
my
just
gosh.
1 away from the win here.
Oh, phew.
Round
Oh,
number
darn.
6. Oscar Myers, real or fake?
Oh gosh. You know, after the last one, I'm scared. All right, let's do real.
No, that one's fake.
Oh gosh, I'm so bad at this.
All right, so it's 3-3. So it's coming down to the last one here.
You
The
never
last
know
one-
what parents and they're naming their kids.
I know it's tough. That's why it's real or fake. All right, final
love
one,
it. I love
round
it.
number 7 for the win.
Okay.
Pepsi Richardson, real or
Oh,
fake?
gosh.
You haven't asked
You
Sammy
guys-
yet. I don't know. He doesn't
You know
look
what?
that
Let's ask
confident
Dan. I'm
over
gonna go
there.
with you, Sandy. We're gonna win this together. If we go.
Pepsi
Pepsi
Richardson.
Richardson.
I mean,
Poker face here. Woods can sometimes read me. I don't know if Sammy can.
I say real. Somebody's got to
He
like
says
Pepsi that
real.
much.
Clinton, it's up to you.
Pepsi Richardson.
Pepsi Richardson, real or fake? You don't have to go with Sammy.
Well, the way you guys are saying it right now, I'm gonna say fake.
Oh, did I talk you
Interesting.
out of it?
Yeah.
Very smart, because that's
Oh my
Clinton,
god.
congratulations. You have
That's why you
Wow.
don't listen to
won
me.
Wow.
Lee.
today's
right now.
game of real or fake. Hang on the line. Paulie will get your information, put you into the drawing for Sammy Hagar and Las Vegas. Congratulations.
Chandler Bing.
Chandler Bing. He's actually a pretty good player,
Yeah.
I believe, for Vanderbilt.
Speaking of Chandler Bing, I can't stand Friends.
What?
Not my thing. No. Seinfeld love.
You can't stand the
Friends.
whole. Now, everyone has the
No.
friend that they like and the
I
friend
never
that
got
they
into
don't
it.
Just
like.
never liked the show.
No.
Never got into
Like Ross annoyed me the whole
it.
show.
The Gellers both.
Joey
sucked.
wasn't my favorite. Chandler was hilarious.
Chandler
Love
and Phoebe
Chandler.
were my two favorites.
Phoebe was pretty
I like
good.
Phoebe.
Monica was annoying. I was okay with Rachel.
Yeah.
I
was
just saw
I.
I just saw Jennifer Aniston. She's dating somebody new.
I know.
You saw that too.
I did.
Wow.
Woods and I were talking about it yesterday. Then we looked up. How old do you think Jennifer Aniston is?
58.
She is 56,
Wow.
and she looks fantastic for 56. She looks fantastic for 36, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Again, congratulations, Clinton. You have qualified for Sammy Hagar. We will come back. Now, I haven't talked to Sammy since the World Series ended.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's been a couple of weeks. I saw an unbelievable breakdown, not of the Isaiah Kiner-Falefa leadoff. That's been done to death. But a different play that may have cost the Blue Jays the World Series. I want to get your thoughts on it. Coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. First, I get to tell you about SDFatLoss.com. SD Fat Loss is how I lost 40 pounds in 60 days. And while that sounds pretty amazing, it's actually what you can expect if you do the program yourself. A pound of fat per day, 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 60 days. That means if you weigh 200 pounds, you can expect to lose between 20 and 40 pounds in 60 days. If that sounds good, set up your free consultation by going to sdfatloss.com. They will explain how the program works, how you can jumpstart your metabolism and lose weight by eating real foods like chicken and steak. I ate a lot of that during my 2 months, and I lost the weight fast. No bars or shakes to buy, no prepackaged meals. It's just real food from the grocery store. From restaurants. You can even eat out and still lose the weight. No exercise necessary and no injections with the potential harmful side effects. This is just a real way to lose weight. And that makes it so sustainable that you keep the weight off after you're done, which I have now for 2.5 years. Why lose the weight if you're just going to gain it right back? So set up your free consultation by going to sdfatloss.com today. Go to sdfatloss.com. Results may vary.
and this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, now open.
Took about a week, but might have been the best wrap up of Game 7 of the World Series I've seen so far.
Oh, is this the John Boy?
No,
one?
this is Tom Verducci at SportsIllustrated.com, and there was one play in particular that I hadn't even really thought about that may have absolutely cost the Toronto Blue Jays the World Series, and it wasn't the Isaiah Kiner Falefa lack of a leadoff, which is part of the story, of course. But I want to get Sammy's thoughts on this as well. First, though, this hour on Ben and Woods is brought to you by IHOP, introducing the IHOP value menu, where all your breakfast faves are just $6 each every day. Where else can you get a big filling sit-down breakfast for only $6? Go to your happy plates with the $6 IHOP value menu, available every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations.
Can I take it's from Game 7?
Yeah.
Can I take? Let me try to guess.
Okay.
So it's not the play at home plate.
It's not the play at home plate, which of course was the bottom of the ninth. So if you'll remember, and I had kind of forgotten about this, but after Will Smith's home run in the top of the 11th inning, the Blue Jays still had their at bat, and they got the leadoff double from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So they had the tying run out at second base, and then they had Isaiah Kiner Falefa lay down a bunt to get him over to third.
Right.
I don't have a huge problem with that. Playing for the tie in that situation, knowing IKF's not much of a hitter, and you want the run to score with an out potentially from third base. So at that point, Mark Pryor, and this is what Tom Verducci wrote about. Mark Pryor goes out to the mound to visit Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's in relief. Orders Yamamoto pitch around Addison Barger.
Right.
Which he did. He didn't throw him even close to a strike, of course, to get to a slower runner in Alejandro Kirk, potentially setting up a double play grounder.
And Barger, who had a great series.
Yamamoto, who throws a lot of, sinkers, ground balls, gets a lot of ground balls. Kirk hits into twice as many double plays as your average guy because he's not that fast and he makes a lot of contact. So that was great strategy by the Dodgers to do that. What Tom Verducci posited was the Blue Jays should have countered by having Addison Barger, a plus runner, steal on the first pitch, or at least fake stealing and see what the Dodgers were going to do, because the Dodgers might not have even risked throwing down or even sending someone to cover because Alejandro Kirk makes good contact. And if you vacate one of the positions in the middle of the infield to cover second base, you may have just cost yourself the entire World Series, because if he hits a ground ball and it turns into a hit and run, you've tied the game and you've got first and third and still one out with a chance to win the game. But in that situation, Barger didn't even threaten going. He was pretty close to the base, was afraid of not getting, picked off or something like that. So they did not be bold and put their runner in motion in that situation where that might have saved them from the double play.
Yeah.
Hits that grounder. If he's running on that play, you can't turn the double play. The runner scores from third. You got a tie game at least, and you probably have the winning run out at second base with 2 outs and a chance to win it with a single. But because they went conservative, didn't send the runner, ends up with the double play, and the series is over. And I hadn't even thought about that one. Of course, you think a ton about the leadoff with IKF at third base.
Did Kirk swing at the first pitch?
It was not the first pitch.
Wow.
Barger just
an even
stood
better
there on the
point.
first pitch. Yeah. Just stood there on the first pitch. Didn't do anything. And then the Dodgers felt pretty comfortable. Okay, he's not going.
Well, it's a really good point, because I think when you look back on it and you're not in the heat of the moment, obviously in that spot with Kirk up, you were trying to do everything you can to stay out of the double play, right? And they didn't. So it's a good point. Very good breakdown.
Very interesting. And that's one of the things you love about baseball. You think you know the sport pretty well. You've watched it your whole life. And then, all of a sudden there's just one more little next level bit. And it's one of the things truly that I believe Mike Schilt was very, very good at. Like he would have thought of that, as if he was the manager in that situation. Those are the tiny things that I think he excelled at as skipper. Obviously, had his strengths and shortcomings, as everyone does. But I do believe that one of his strengths were those tiny little advantages that you find that you can get in a situation. I still, they had video now of IKF and the third base coach for the Blue Jays, like even drawing a line, like, here's how far I want you to get off. And, you can complain he should have been further off. He was following the instructions of his coach in that situation, not risking getting doubled off at third.
And I also think that if Rojas doesn't, basically fall backwards and he's way off balance, that's a very, very easy play at home plate. The only reason it was as close as it was is because Rojas kind of fell off balance, had to make the throw falling backwards. I mean, it's not, I don't view that play as Kiner Falefa costing them a run in a World Series win. It was only as close as it was because of the way Rojas had to field the ball.
That's very true. That's very true.
By the way, and an interesting thing to think about, not so much on the IKF lead, it was a really good job by the home plate umpire, and I don't remember who it was now.
Jordan Baker was the Game 7 home plate umpire, and he did a really good job.
Great job.
Whole game.
Imagine had he ruled safe, Blue Jays score, they win the World Series,
and then you have to
overturn it.
Hadn't thought of it like that necessarily.
It's a great call. It's one of the best calls ever.
We were all thinking.
I mean, even the other way, even if he's safe and he calls him out, do you want your World Series decided on a replay overturn? That would have been crazy as well.
It was pretty clear that he was in fact out, but there was the moment where you knew it was going to get reviewed, because just why not?
Yeah. And
you're just thinking to yourself, there's no way, right? There's no way the World Series can come to an end on a review reversal.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? We've all been, and when they introduced replay, and I think it's going to be the same thing with the ABS, we all sort of have waited for that major playoff moment to get decided by replay in a really weird way. And I don't know that we've quite had it, but it's probably going to happen at some point, and it almost happened in Game 7.
The Vapors in our chat says should have had a bigger leadoff and ran through home as opposed to sliding. I've heard that argument made as
hard in the moment to
Verducci kind of addresses that and goes, is it true? Can you get there faster? Yes. Is it also something you've ever seen anyone do in the history of baseball?
Yeah, it's a hard ask.
You're asking someone to have just an otherworldly sense of what's going on in an absolutely pressure-packed critical situation. It's hard to ding Isaiah Kiner Falefa for sliding in that situation. The other point, I actually made a few of them, but the catch that Andy Pages made to save the World Series there in the 9th inning was pretty incredible, in that they have all the metrics of how fast, runners go out there. And you gave Dave Roberts so much credit for putting Andy Pages out there for defensive purposes. Verducci pointed out that Tommy Edman is actually faster in terms of sprint speed than Andy Pages. So technically, he actually cost himself a little bit of speed there by putting PADRES out in the outfield in that situation, and he had to sprint all out. But according to the metrics, Andy PADRES ran faster than he has basically ever run in his life to track down that ball. He was like a full mile per hour faster than what his normal top speed is in the outfield in getting to that catch that was over Kike's head, and had no chance to get it. If he doesn't make that catch, season over, World Series over. But he added a little adrenaline, whatever it was, and still was able to make the catch. Imagine sprinting as fast as you possibly humanly can, and then making a tough catch in which you're colliding with your teammate as you're reaching up, backhanding, and intertwined with him. I can't tell you how great that play was by Andy PADRES. That would have been a home run at Fenway. I think it would have been a home run at Wrigley Field, a couple of ballparks. That ball was hit really, really well.
Well, the other aspect of PADRES going in that I thought was part of it was Edman. He had dealt with the ankle injury for a while. So I thought that was probably part of it as well, that they wanted. I don't know that Edman was ever moving 100% following that ankle injury. So look, it worked out. What's so crazy about that finish? There were so many moments for the Blue Jays. Had it just gone an inch or two differently, they win the World Series. Whether it's the play at home, whether it's the play in left center with PADRES and Kike Hernandez. If Jeff Hoffman makes a slightly better pitch to Rojas, I still to this day I don't know how, if you're a Blue Jays fan, you're managing through being that close.
All right, we got Sammy Levitt in studio. We're going to check traffic before the top of the hour here. We just got a gnarly update on the story that was breaking earlier: the death of Dallas Cowboys 24-year-old defensive end Marshawn Kneeland, and what actually happened here. We'll let you know coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Creative Repipe, the Repipe experts. We still have a number of things going on here, guys. One of them is this crash on the coastline southbound 5 before Encinitas Boulevard. It's in the clearing stage over the right shoulder. And yes, that crash has cleared up ahead near Birmingham. Another problem in the North County, northbound 15, just before the 78. There is a collision involving a big rig. Appears to be blocking one of the right lanes. Also, southbound 15, just past Miramar Way, reports of a stalled vehicle in the HOV lane. Going to find on eastbound King Freeway, just before Federal, stalled vehicle has been pushed over the right shoulder. And in National City, northbound at 5 near Civic Center, stalled lunch truck in the right lane. Before that drip becomes a flood, call Creative Repipe for whole house repipes. Financing available, and 97.3 The Fan listeners get a 20% discount plus a lifetime warranty. Call 619-399-2880 or visit creativerepipe.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So this update just coming in on the tragic story of the death of Cowboys defensive end Marshawn Kneeland has taken a dark turn. According to, this is an ABC report. Marshawn Kneeland was found dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound following a police chase last night, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. Troopers attempted to pull over Kneeland following an alleged traffic violation on Dallas North Tollway around 10:30 p.m. Kneeland allegedly refused to stop. Troopers pursued the vehicle until losing sight of the vehicle and stopping the chase. The vehicle was later found abandoned after a crash on the Dallas Parkway. Kneeland was found dead in the immediate area with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That is
horrible.
That is really, really awful.
Damn.
So they're trying to pull him over. He led him on a police chase. He actually got away, but then got into a crash and took his own life, apparently. This is definitely a story that we haven't heard the end of in the NFL, and just an incredible tragedy. Meanwhile, completely different topic, and I guess I should bring this up. I have no idea as to the validity or the credibility of this tweet, but it is from someone who is not a nobody.
Yeah, I don't totally know about this guy, but he's like somebody in college football world, I think.
His name is Matt Jones. He is the host of Kentucky Sports Radio.
Yeah.
An
He has
NFL
right.
preview show on ESPN radio.
He has,
Yeah,
he has a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he is somebody.
Has
which is-
330,000 followers.
Yeah.
He just tweeted. And again, I have no idea how true
If
this
you don't
is
know
or-
what we're talking, if you haven't seen this yet,
Yeah.
you probably haven't.
says random
You're gonna
person
flip.
random person just texted me, quote, Craig Stammen is the new Padres manager. So I'm going to break that, even though I don't know who that is. He continues, if Craig Stammen, who I reiterate, I did not know existed until moments ago, is not the new Padres manager, I will go back to having zero Padres info and scoop. Okay. I mean, that's odd. Now, Craig Stammen has been serving as a assistant to AJ Preller in the Padres front office and is a very well-liked and respected member of the Padres organization. Smart guy. Not a name that we had ever heard brought up as a potential managerial candidate for the San Diego Padres. He is originally from Ohio area, which is near Kentucky. So I don't know if that has anything to do with who
I was
might
trying
be
to. I'm looking
texting
at
a
Matt.
Kentucky sports reporter
I'm looking
about
at Matt
something like
Jones's
that.
Wikipedia, and I'm
Well,
like, what connections does he have to like Texas, AJ Preller? Like, I don't know.
If the Padres were interviewing and interested in people currently inside the organization, whether it be, let's say, an AJ Ellis, we obviously know Ruben and others as well. I mean, I can see a world where Craig Stammen would get an interview.
100%.
It's not so completely bonkers.
I
that
don't think
can
so.
Totally dismiss this.
It's a very odd.
If he said Eric
guy to-
Hosmer is returning to baseball, he's
Right,
going to manage
troll.
the Padres, I would be like, okay, that's obviously that is not happening.
I
Craig
don't.
Stammen's the guy where you're like, everyone has said he's going to be a coach at some point if he wants it.
Right.
Nobody thinks that he couldn't do that job, and I don't know what his aspirations are.
I could see Craig Stammen, based on how well respected he is and the guy he is, I could definitely see Craig being a manager one day.
He was perhaps the most respected player in that Padres clubhouse, even though he was really just a mop-up bullpen guy for the most part. Everybody just loved Craig Stammen.
The definition of a glue guy.
My question is, who is texting Matt
That's
Jones?
what I wanna
this?
know,
Is
too.
this a random guy, or is this somebody legitimate that he would actually tweet it?
It feels like it's one of those, degrees of separation thing, maybe like, hey, someone who knows Craig Stammen also knows Matt Jones and just said, I just heard this news. I'm going to tell my friend in the media what I just heard.
I think it's pretty unlikely that this is
It
true.
does feel somewhat unlikely.
But the guy, Craig Stammen, you could see managing one day. That's
Again,
not crazy.
Again.
Well, and if this Matt Jones is in fact a legitimate media member, like he has nothing to. He's not trying to troll.
Be the oddest breaking news of all time. We'll come back next on The Fan. Just to be clear, I am not ready to pronounce the Craig Stammen era of Padres baseball underway, based on one tweet from Kentucky this morning. Welcome back to Ben and Woods. Sammy Levitt sitting in Stephen Woods' chair while he is gone today. Disneyland celebrating Taylor's birthday with his family. He will be back tomorrow. Just had our boss, Adam, and we actually tried to reach out to Matt Jones in Kentucky to get any clarification on his randomly bizarre report.
Well, how about Adam having his number?
I legitimately,
everybody's number.
I had not heard of this person before, but we were just told he's like the Paul Feinbaum of Kentucky. So in college football, huge name in media. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. And then Adam's like, oh, I got his number right here. You guys want to call him? We're like, kind of.
Tried. He didn't answer. Adam was going to go with the text route after, because no one answers the phone for an unknown number anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, we at least reached out to see if there's any more information he can give us. He said he got a random text.
Well,
what do you consider a random text?
I consider
a text from someone you know pretty well, just randomly hitting you
random
up, or
text could have
like
two
a text
meanings.
from a number you don't really know
It
that
could-
just sent you.
That's
hey,
random. I think if you haven't talked to them in like over a year or a couple years,
But
that
it-
would consider random.
But it also could be somebody that you are relatively close to or know well, and you're just saying this information is random.
That's true. It could be someone you trust.
If it is
very
that,
well.
then maybe we have something here.
Yes, that would have more credibility. If he's just getting a random text from like, don't know this number, but they're telling me that Craig Stammen is the new manager of the Padres, that's less credible, obviously.
What do you think the likelihood in the next 58 minutes before this show ends that there is a major newsbreaker saying Craig Stammen is the
0%.
manager of the Padres?
In the next 58 minutes, 0%.
In the next
59
hour?
minutes,
Yes.
possible. 10:02.
Interesting.
I mean, if you're the Padres, I don't feel like it's something you even need to respond to. If
No.
it was from Jeff Passan, of course.
If it was from Jeff Passan, then Craig Stammen's the new manager of the
you
Padres.
trust it 100%. If it was from an MLB insider and you thought it was wrong, you might need to say something. If you're the Padres, like, hey, slow your roll. We have not hired a manager yet, or that's not who we're hiring. You might not want people to start rolling with it.
If this is true, in a world where this is true, where I think we all agree that it's probably not. But if this was true, it would be probably the craziest Padres news break.
It would be
of all time.
One of the craziest news breaks of all time from a random source out of nowhere, like dropping some news. We've already proven this week that there's a number of Padres legends and insiders who listen to this show on occasion. Just, randomly text me, yes or no. Just yes, if it's Craig Stammen, or no. I will
Trevor
not.
Hoffman, if you're listening.
I will not reveal who it is. I just want a yes or a no on my text, so I can at least know what direction to go with this very, very unusual report out of Kentucky
Look, if
from a
it's-
basketball reporter and football reporter in Kentucky.
I know it's easy to know, like, you're like, okay, this is clearly a troll account or something like this. Nobody knows who this is, if this person even exists. When this person does in fact exist, Matt Jones, you may be not super familiar with him, but he's well established in Kentucky college football scenes. It's just very weird. And then, like you said, if Jeff Passan, like 2 days ago, was like, I'm hearing Craig Stammen could be a dark horse candidate for the Padres job, we would all go, hadn't thought about that. But
Again,
man,
don't
I can
hate
see
it.
that.
Don't totally hate the idea.
I mean, like, and I alluded to this earlier because I thought I had read this somewhere because I vaguely know who Matt Jones is. I mean, I'm just reading off Wikipedia here. Jones considered running for the U.S. Senate in 2020, but announced in November of 2019 that he would not enter the race. So he's like, again, this is not a nobody. This is just sort of an interesting character.
But where did he get the info from? And
I'm even looking up, where did he grew up?
His credibility is not on the line here. That's
so
the
he was
problem.
born in Lexington, Kentucky.
For
Where
most
was Craig
people, if
Stammen
you're a
born?
baseball reporter, you tweet something like that, you get it wrong, you take a hit to your credibility. I don't know that anything is completely, you can't come back from nowadays. Everybody gets certain things wrong. Ken Rosenthal's gotten things wrong, obviously, before. But you just do that, and if you're not a baseball reporter, you just laugh it off and go, "Ha, someone got me. Oh well." He doesn't know the hornet's nest that he's stirring up in San Diego at this moment.
Yeah, we'll see.
I have yet to receive my random yes or no text.
Let's get to the biggest fan
from random insiders. Oh yeah, we've got to get to it. Thank you, Paulie. Yes, it is 9:00. It means it is time for us to announce today's biggest fan. If you hear your name called, you'll have 10 minutes, and we will make it official 10 minutes from now for you to call us at 833-288-0973 and qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game next season with the fan staff. Today's name at 9 a.m. is Ramon Garcia from San Diego. Ramon Garcia, you now have 10 minutes to call us at 833-288-0973. Get your name into our grand prize drawing for the night in the Odyssey Suite, and it's not too late for everybody out there. Register your name at 973thefan, sd.com/biggest-fan. While we wait for Ramon to call, Paulie, give us some headlines on the Randall Report. And get things started here with our today's edition of the Randall Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
How we doing, boys?
Good.
Fantastic.
Little spun out.
A little bit. All right, let's get started here. Round of reports. We will get started with some, I won't call it big news. I'll just call it news this morning from ESPN. And I don't know if this matters to anybody.
It's official.
It is official. I do know that. ESPN
Craig
announced.
Stammen is the new manager of the San Diego Padres.
Wait.
Yep. Sorry.
According to
you.
whom?
Kevin Acey. Just sent it out, and it is now posted on the Union Tribune website. So congratulations,
that's
Matt
the end of the
Jones.
Matt
Jones.
You have
San Diego
everybody.
legend.
Padres have hired a new manager, Craig Stammen, who spent 6 years as a Padres relief pitcher, has agreed to a 3-year contract, according to the Union Tribune, to become the team's next manager. The surprise candidate that no one was talking about is the new manager of the San Diego Padres. The hire is expected to be announced later this morning. We will let you know if there's a news conference. Of course, we will cover it here on 97.3 The Fan.
Immediate reaction. Craig
Still
is
surprised.
Very surprised.
Yep.
Somebody in the organization.
Sure. Which
somebody very, very well respected.
Right. But someone with no managerial experience is going to have to learn on the job a bit. I mean, you're going to need to give them a good coaching staff, obviously, and hopefully you can keep as many of your superstar coaches like Ruben Niebla and Ben Fritz as possible.
Now I'm wondering if Don Mattingly is going to be the
bench coach
of the
that
Padres.
would make a lot of sense, actually. Of experienced former manager.
Wow, but a stunner.
As a bench coach.
I mean, I would classify this as a stunner.
Oh yeah,
for all reasons.
I do feel
somebody
like
who is not reported on.
I do feel like we should have thrown his name into the mix.
Agree
when
with
we were
you.
throwing out people like Mark Loretta in the organization, Craig Stammen's name should have been thrown out along with everybody else, and just kind of a blanket sense, just knowing how highly he's thought of. But again, when you don't hear a name at all for 2.5 weeks in a process, and then all of a sudden he's hired, you've got to be considered at least somewhat of an out of left field shocker here.
All right, I'm reading, trying to get through Kevin Acey's story here, and this obviously happening just while we're on the air. A tight circle of team officials led by Chairman John Seidler, AJ Preller, Eric Greupner chose Stammen over Niebla, Pujols, Hundley. The plan is for Niebla, who has 2 years remaining on his contract, to be retained.
Love that.
Okay.
Padres are expected to retain most of their coaching staff, searching for a new hitting coach and third base coach. We already knew that.
Tim Leeper has been hired by the Mets. Do we know that? I hadn't.
I had read that.
You read that one? Okay.
Yep. According to people familiar with the interview process, Stammen impressed Padres officials in his interviews with the genuine manner in which he communicated his conviction about how a team should be run and his knowledge of the organization.
Look, I like Craig a lot. I've always been impressed by him. I think he's a great baseball mind. He's somebody very well respected. So I'm not surprised. And I think we alluded to this when we first read the Matt Jones tweet. I'm not surprised at all that Craig Stammen's going to be a manager. It's out of left field. It's out of nowhere. It's a stunner.
It's, he was teammates with some of the players he will now be managing. Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth, Adrian Morejon, Joe Musgrove, Fernando Tatis Jr. He was on the team with all of those guys, and Yu Darvish as well. Obviously, you won't be pitching this year, but he was teammates with all 6 of those guys during the end of his tenure with the San Diego Padres. Remember, he started the pandemic playoff decisive game 3, the bullpen game against the St. Louis Cardinals when they beat Mike Schilt's team to advance to the second round of the playoffs in 2020.
It's a totally different hire than the last 2. Bob Melvin, tons of experience. Mike Schilt, a lot of experience.
Although it is similar to Mike Schilt in that he was working inside the organization,
very similar
with the front office, like Mike Schilt was when then he was brought in to maintain at least some semblance of continuity going forward. So they'll have to hire a couple of coaches, but they'll try to keep as many coaches and as much continuity as possible going forward. I promise you one thing. You if you don't know Craig Stammen, if you're a fairly newer Padres fan, you're going to like Craig Stammen.
I agree.
I promise you will like Craig Stammen.
Yeah,
whether he'll be a good manager or not, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and you're right. This probably should have been someone that we spoke more about, that we threw into the mix earlier. Now, in our defense, I think every show on the station's defense, it's not like anybody else was reporting on it. All the reporting that was done about Pujols and Hundley, just Matt Jones. I mean, that is the stunning part about it. But from the standpoint of Craig Stammen, the idea of him being a major league manager, I think for those of us who have dealt with Craig and know him, I don't think it's surprising in the slightest, but I do think the timing is pretty stunning.
By the way, if there was ever any doubt about whether AJ Preller is still in control of this team,
agreed.
This ends all of it. Contract extension or not, AJ is Craig Stammen's an AJ guy. He's someone that AJ has often spoke highly of, has worked closely with AJ in the front office. Very much an AJ Preller hire here, which is not a bad thing.
No.
But it's not a sign that AJ is losing some of the control of the team or anything at this point. It's a sign that that AJ is still very much making the decisions.
At Petco Park. I would agree with that. I would be stunned if this doesn't come along with an extension for AJ. And I think you're right, Ben. I think it speaks to this being a real AJ hire and somebody that they probably feel can work hand in hand with this front office for sure.
Correct.
I would assume that's a large part of it is somebody who can work hand in hand with this front office, somebody they know, who I think is probably easy to work with, who they understand him, he understands them.
Paulie, I think we have our biggest fan on the line. Got to get the important stuff here. Got to make sure we take care of that. We totally interrupted. We got about 4 seconds into the round report when this all broke. We'll let you get back to it. Let's take a break. We will continue to react to the Padres hiring of Craig Stammen as their 19th manager in franchise history.
Where's
full-time
Woodsy?
Manager. Woodsy, of course, at Disneyland when this is all happening. We'll be back after a quick timeout with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, played at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
Craig Stammen needs to unwind after a Padres game. He knows where to do it. It's just 7 minutes from downtown at 7 Mile Casino. Make the short drive down the 5 freeway to Chula Vista. You're going to get off at E. That'll put you right on Bay Boulevard. It's on the west side of the freeway. You stay there within about a quarter of a mile. You turn left right in to the parking lot at 7 Mile Casino. Park right in front. This isn't one of those giant casinos out in the East County where you got to go into the 7th level of a parking garage, walk through all the slot machines and get to a card room. No, you walk right in, you sit right down at a California-style blackjack table, play some Texas Hold'em poker. It's going to be a great time at 7 Mile Casino. You can have a great meal at Sammy's at 7 Mile. Sammy's wood-fired pizza, the great menus that you know with the pizzas and the chopped salads and the pastas, plus their 24/7 24/7 players menu available at any time during the day with great favorites like the Kung Pao chicken, which I love, and the weekend brunch voted best in the South County, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy it in the restaurant, enjoy it on the patio, or if you're a player, enjoy food from the menu, a 35% discount while you're at the tables. So many reasons to check out 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
This pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, now open.
When major Padres news breaks, you come to 97.3 The Fan. Well, first you go to Matt Jones in Kentucky. Then you come to 97.3 The Fan to get the immediate reaction. And I would like to let everybody know that AJ Preller, Padres president of baseball operations, will join us in just over 10 minutes at the bottom of the hour to discuss what is now official, the hiring of Craig Stammen to a 3-year contract as the new manager of the San Diego Padres. Just got a release from the team. Sammy Levitt sitting in for Woodsy here. The quote from AJ, we can ask him about it in a few minutes. Craig has been a strong presence in our organization for nearly a decade. He possesses deep organizational knowledge and brings natural leadership qualities to the manager's chair. As both a player and in his post-playing career, Craig has displayed an ability to elevate those around him. His strength of character, competitive nature, and talent for bringing people together makes him the ideal choice to lead the Padres.
Well, obviously it's a stunner because it's a name that came out of nowhere. It's a stunner because Matt Jones in Kentucky broke it, which we're going to have to get the backstory on for Matt Jones at some point on this
I'm
radio
gonna ask AJ
station.
Preller in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know who Matt Jones
we should.
is?
The more I think about it, it's not that stunning at all because I think Craig is so respected. Remember, this is somebody who decided he was done playing at spring training. I was there. I remember when he said it. It was emotional. He's somebody that commands a lot of respect from guys in that room, from his teammates, and somebody they thought highly enough of that when he stopped playing, they moved him right into a front office role, had him work with players. I think Craig was down in the minor leagues a little bit throughout the last couple of years working with players. So he's somebody who is extremely well respected. And, AJ and the Padres think really, really highly of. However, it is a guy who's going to be a first-time manager at any level.
It always actually was almost a mystery to me because, I'm not in that clubhouse, but when Craig Stammen was a player, how unbelievably respected he was. Like he was a superstar player, like an Albert Pujols. He commanded that level of respect in the Padres clubhouse when he was a player without being a superstar level player, with mostly just being a bullpen, a back end of the bullpen guy. He was looked at as a key member of the team, of the franchise for the really entire time he was with the San Diego Padres.
Right. And he, look, I did not know Craig, the player, super well, admittedly, because I think he only pitched in 2022 when I was here. Obviously, I think other people knew him better as a player when he had more of a major role with the Padres pitching staff and in that bullpen. But yeah, I agree with you. Somebody that is super well respected. Here's the other thing that I do like about it is that, when Mike Schultz showed up and you were thinking there would be continuity there, and he's somebody that could stick around a while and somebody that was coming from the Cardinals and had been in the organization, not to take the Cardinal way line and just flip it into Padre way, but, maybe that's a little bit of what this is of organizational continuity, somebody who's been in the organization, somebody who's been in the front office. If you're looking for the Padres to develop the quote unquote Padre way, well, maybe it's good that you have a guy from within the organization that knows how AJ and how his front office wants things to be handled and how they want things to be done, and somebody that's been at the lower levels a little bit now. To me, it is a nice continuity hire.
There's a lot of discussion in the chat right now. Positive, negative. See Matthew jumping in. 97.3 on immediate damage control. Damage of what? What damage are you looking for? They were going to hire a manager. They have hired a manager. Did you?
And by the way, all the names that were thrown out there were first-year managers.
Absolutely. There was going to be question marks.
Okay. Nick Hundley would have been first-year manager.
Albert Pujols might have been the biggest question mark.
Absolutely.
Hiring. If he had been hired, there would have been major questions about Albert Pujols as the Padres manager.
Again, the stunning part is not that it's Craig. You could have sold me on him being part of the process 100% as somebody who was already in the organization. The stunning part is that Matt Jones in Kentucky broke it out of nowhere, and within 15 minutes, it went from Matt Jones to the Padres announcing it.
Yeah, just like with any manager, I will give him a clean slate and, evaluate him on the job that he does from this point forward. But if you had promoted Ruben Niebla, that would have come with major questions. Pitching coaches don't generally get these jobs. He was part of the coaching staff last year that didn't get it done in the playoffs. Why go with him? Nick Hundley would have been, all right, well, what's the selling point on Nick Hundley? There was no candidate out there where you were going to go, I can't believe the Padres let him get away. They were all came with question marks. There was no slam dunk. Oh, they've got to hire this guy or this process has been a failure in my mind.
Right. Out of all the names that were out there, to me, Pujols was probably the easiest sell because he's Albert Pujols. However, it's going to come with major question marks because you have no idea. The guy's never been a manager. It's an enormous figure to be a manager. But all these guys would have come with question marks, and Craig's going to come with question marks too.
And we'll ask AJ certainly about the interview process and
I'm fascinated. I really am.
Candidates and what he can say about that. Again, he's going to join us in just a couple of minutes. You want to let's take a timeout.
Yeah. Sure.
And then when we come back, we will be joined by Padres President of Baseball Operations, AJ Preller, with the very latest on his hiring of Craig Stammen as the new manager of the San Diego Padres. That's coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
and this pool on this roof. This is all for you. The all-new Humul Casino Resort, now open.
Reacting here on 97.3 The Fan to the hiring of Craig Stammen as the new Padres manager. I give you a couple updates. First of all, the Padres will officially introduce Stammen as manager on Monday. We will carry for you a live news conference from Petco Park beginning at 10 a.m. here on 97.3 The Fan, which feels like a long time from now. It's four days away before we get the official news conference, which is why AJ Preller, president of baseball operations, is going to join us in just a couple of minutes to talk about the big news in the hiring of Craig Stammen. The other is, for the first time, I don't think they had to Photoshop the picture of Craig Stammen in a Padres uniform to introduce him as the manager. They actually have pictures of Craig Stammen from, this current iteration of uniform wearing that as a Padre.
Like
he last
2
played
years
in
ago.
2022. His last appearance was with the team that made it to the National League Championship Series.
They had the graphic design people at Petco Park ready to go. They've got Pujols. They didn't need Ruben. They got Nick Hundley, in a photo, and they're like, oh, I don't need any of this.
Good to go. We already have
just
the
go
Craig
into the
Stammen
photo archives.
Photo
from spring
shoot
training
done.
2022, the headshot.
It's absolutely still applicable today. So, AJ should call us in a moment. Let's get to Kelly's traffic, last check of traffic, and then we'll wait for AJ's call here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Got a few things going on in the North County. South 5 coastline near Encinitas Boulevard. Accident over to the right shoulder. Looks like that Encinitas off-ramp may be partially blocked as well. Also, northbound 15 just before the 78. I got a collision being moved out of lanes. And southbound side of the 805 before Mira Mesa Boulevard, we have reports of an accident involving a car and a big rig. It's over the right shoulder. At Robert Half, they found that 67% of companies want to increase contract talent. That's why the recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI work quickly to find the candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, standing by for Padres president of baseball operations, AJ Preller, going to join us here before the end of the program. Obviously, some busy goings on right now at Petco Park as they officially announced the 3-year contract to become the new manager of the San Diego Padres. Again, we're getting lots of reaction in our chat right now. Sammy Levitt's in studio with us as well. Very, very mixed reaction to the news right now from Padres fans.
Yeah, look, I think it's fair. I think, and we were talking about this a little bit during the break. It's not a shocking hire. The shocking part of it is the timing and the way it's come out.
How it played out, yeah.
How it played out is the shocking part. But if you had told me a couple of weeks ago, once Mike left, that Craig Stammen was part of the process, that he was getting an interview, that he was one of the internal candidates the Padres were considering, it wouldn't have surprised me. I don't think it would have surprised any of us knowing who he is, the respect he has, the role he's already had in the organization. But it's a stunner the way it played out. There's no doubt about it. And, look, I think it will ultimately play out as any manager would. It'll ultimately play out in how Craig performs and how the team performs. But we shall see.
He has one advantage that even Albert Pujols wouldn't have had coming into the Padres. He already has relationships and the respect of even the superstar players of the San Diego Padres. I can promise you, Manny Machado respects the heck out of Craig Stammen. Fernando Tatis Jr. respects the heck out of Craig Stammen. It's something that Andy Green and Jace Tingler didn't have walking into the door as manager of the San Diego Padres as first-time managers. Greg Stammen does have that. And I'm not just saying that. I've seen it. I've heard them all talk about it. This is not new news.
Right.
How Padres players felt about their former teammate.
Now, of course, the flip side of that would be that you have a guy, and it's a rare scenario that he's going to walk into where he is going to be former teammates with a lot of the guys he's managing. Manny, Fernando, Jake Cronenworth. There's others that you can put in that mix as well. There are a lot of star players that he's former teammates with that he's going to be managing. That's a really rare situation. I think it's probably fair to have some concern about how you navigate that. No doubt Craig has a ton of respect in that clubhouse, but it's definitely an interesting scenario.
I'll make a comparison. Stephen Vogt, also 41 years old, same age, has jumped in, has managed former teammates, and very quickly had a lot of success as manager of the Cleveland Guardians. All right, pause, get him online. Let's go out to our David P. Shapiro fan hotline. David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com, and we're joined right now by the president of baseball operations for the San Diego Padres, AJ Preller. AJ, first of all, thanks for doing this when Woodsy was off today at Disneyland with his kids. I'll be able to hold this over his head forever.
No problem. Thank you, guys. We waited for the announcement until we knew what the schedule.
No, he knows. He absolutely
called
knows.
it. He literally called it yesterday.
I will take the day off to guarantee that the Padres will name a new manager. We're a little surprised. Sammy and I were just kind of reacting to the news, but tell us about how the process resulted in Craig Stammen as being your pick for the new manager.
Yeah, we obviously sat down with long list of candidates to start with, and I think from Craig, he's somebody that he's been in the organization. He's been big in terms of somebody that on the field was extremely hard worker, a player that was on our teams, led in on the field and also in the clubhouse. The last few years has been around the organization in uniform, working with Schulte and the coaching staff and the player group, also working with others in the the organization from the minor league standpoint, and then also with the front office. So, again, he's somebody that we have a lot of trust and faith in. He's somebody that, as a player, super prepared, and work ethic off the charts, and a guy that has a lot of respect in that clubhouse from a lot of people that work at Petco and the player group, and we're just really excited about him as a choice.
AJ, the last two managers you hired, Bob Melvin and Mike Schilt, both had experience as big league skippers. Craig Stammen doesn't. The names that we heard, and I don't know if there were others in the mix, also did not have major league managerial experience. Why was that not a big factor in the hiring process for you?
No, experience always is a big factor. I think we talked to a wide range. We some names that are reported, some names not, but we talked to ex big league managers, longtime coaches. We've talked to people in different spots, and I think to me, I think you look throughout the league, successful managers that come from all different areas. So like you mentioned with Bob and Mike, we had two managers that had been managers elsewhere previously and had that experience. But again, it's more about the person, the individual, and the fit with the team. I think you look throughout the game and you study it. Some people that have big league experience, some people have coaching experience, some people have come from the broadcast booth, some people have come from the front office ranks, some people have come from the college ranks. It's really just getting the right person, the right individual, and Craig's got those attributes in terms of leadership and character and organizational knowledge, and somebody that's very talented. And I think for those reasons, we felt like he was the guy that we wanted.
We're joined by Padres president of baseball operations, AJ Preller, as the Padres hire Craig Stammen as their new manager on a 3-year contract. AJ, obviously it's not an unprecedented situation having a guy who was former teammates with current players step into the manager's spot, but how much did his relationship with current guys on the team, superstars on the team, how much did that play a role in Craig being a fit for this?
Yeah, I think it's a factor, for sure. I mean, I think, again, I think the fact that Craig knows, our players, our team, he played with, guys on the team. He's able to hit the ground running from that standpoint. And you talk about experience, his experience has been in that clubhouse. And then the last few years, around the coaching staff and, around the group as well with a different perspective. So, I think for us, I think the ability, we have a good team that we think, obviously has been in the playoffs here the last couple of years and the core of the team that should be returning. So, the fact that Craig knows those guys well, played with some of those guys, and knows the organization in and out, our staff and our players, that was a definite factor for us in the decision.
AJ, what can you tell us about the coaching staff that will be around Craig Stammen, guys that are already there, or any newcomers you may be looking to add?
Yeah, I mean, again, like we've been, we've had honest conversation with the staff members. If some of the staff members, we let them know that as we go through the process, they could reach out and talk to other teams. It's I think for us, a lot of the staff members are under contract. They want to be back. Ruben, for example, he was in this process right till the end. And he brings a ton of positive, both with the pitching staff, and what we continue to see is, he's like talking to him about the manager responsibilities. He's going to continue to add to the organization. We're going to continue talking to him and Craig will about his voice and how we make sure that that's spread throughout the clubhouse. But we've got a talented coaching staff. Craig will have the ability to shape it with some other voices that he feels like will keep adding to our team and our organization. But there's a lot of members of that staff that'll be back that are under contract and are excited about coming back and working with Craig.
You mentioned, other names in the process, Ruben Niebla. One that was publicized quite a bit was Albert Pujols. Can you share anything about your conversations with Albert and, anything that you got from him and maybe his prospects and what you think of him as potential future manager in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, Albert was, again, like, first class and to me, it was very impressive in the process, as you would expect. I mean, obviously talking to him, pretty easy to see, his experiences as a player, the way he was prepared and talked about what made him successful. I think for us, him getting down to that final interview and everything like that, you could see that, that's going to translate to players. He has a real want to do it. He went and managed an Escogido, on the winter ball team. So, again, these are, the conversation with him, with Albert, when we told him we were going in a different direction, he was super professional and just explaining, look, we started with, probably over 50 candidates on a piece of paper and, leading to Zoom interviews and first round interviews and then in-person interviews and, pretty detailed process overall with, staff and ownership, and to get down to that final grouping, I think from him speaks a lot about his candidacy and, he wants to do this. I'm sure he's going to do this in the big leagues for a long time, but you can only hire one manager and just let him know that, honestly.
AJ, as we've touched on, Craig Stammen will be a first-time manager. As far as the coaching staff, will it be important to you to at least somewhat surround him with experience and perhaps somebody that's sat in that seat before?
I think that's something that we'll continue to talk about. Again, there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different experiences. So I think it's just good people that are, have a lot of baseball knowledge and content that that ultimately, believe in the Padres and, have the ability to get, our players, better and also that want to participate, with a really talented staff. So I'm sure there's going to be people in that grouping that have had prior coaching and managing experience. But we've got a really talented staff already. And again, I think for Craig, like letting him help to, letting him shape that staff, that'll be important. And, I think there'll be staff members with all different kinds of backgrounds, honestly.
Let me ask you, how close, if was Craig Stammen with Mike Schilt, and how much do you see this as trying to continue what Mike Schilt has done, and how much do you want to see, Craig Stammen put his own stamp on the job as manager of the Padres?
Yeah, I mean, the last few years, for Craig, we, Mike and Josh Stein, myself, we ended up adding Alan Craig and AJ Ellis as players that had come off the field that have been part of the organization, Mike wanted them around the big league team. They've kind of been throughout the minor league organization. He wanted them around the big league team, as to help him, to help the staff, and to help grow some of our players. So the unique role that kind of under the maybe under publicized the last few years, that those three guys have a ton of experiences and are have been around the Padre organization. They were involved with Mike and the staff on a lot of the conversations, and help messaging certain things to players and to staff members. So they're pretty familiar with the current processes. There's a lot of good that's been in place. I mean, obviously we won a lot of games the last couple of years. So I think the fact that Craig's aware of that, has been a part of that, has seen that. I think he's going to have his own tweak on certain things, as he should. So I think the whole point of this process is, how do we take this to the next level? Right now we've been, a team that's been in the playoffs and won 90 plus and challenged for titles. How do we take that to a team that, is playing on that big stage in October and, playing in a World Series game? So he's seen a lot on a day-to-day basis and been around it over the last few years. I think there's a lot of good there, but it's he now has the ability to go and shape that and make it better.
AJ, with the unique nature of Craig being a former teammate of a number of guys inside that clubhouse, were not former players, were current players, were they asked about their opinion of the next managerial hire and having somebody like Craig? Were they a part of that process at all?
I think to me, you sit down, you have some different conversations about, I talk to our players, and some of the veteran guys have been around the team, and, about the different attributes, and get their takes on what they're looking for in a manager, and what this current team they feel like we need. The specific, candidates, and who it ends up being. Ultimately, that's our choice and my choice, so it's, you take in a lot of information, and I think for myself, the conversations with a player group is about, the attributes, and, then ultimately, you got to go ahead and make choices on the individuals and who that is, and, and make that decision.
Now that you have a manager, what's the next order of business for you in the offseason GM meetings coming up next week?
Yeah, no, it's again, it'll be a lot of conversation now with Craig, putting a staff together, kind of finalizing the staff, and reaching out to the current staff members, starting that process in terms of a review of the past season, getting with our current group about off-season player plans and what that looks like, and then like you mentioned, the GM meeting starting next week. That's kind of the kickoff for trades, free agency, qualifying offers. So we'll start to get a better sense coming out of the GM meetings about what other teams are trying to do, what certain free agents are trying to do. We have a good team, we have a good core. We've got to kind of get into the process now, the hot stove league, and start getting ready to add to that core and put a team on the field that can get back to the playoffs and go take some more steps into October.
Finally, AJ, I have to ask, Eric Grupner came on this program a couple of weeks ago and said that John Seidler was going to be instigating contract extension talks with you. Any update on that process? And you're planning to stick around for a while still?
Yeah, I mean, again, I like I mentioned before, I mean, that's something obviously that any of the contract talks, player wise, from I always say that all the time when people ask about trades and free agency, it's not something that we like to comment on publicly. I know that's been discussed and talked about. Again, I believe a ton in this organization. I love the Padres in San Diego. It's been a huge fun to be part of this thing, and I'm looking forward to doing it for a long time. And again, I think the focus so far has been on the manager hunt, and now it's going to continue to be on the off season and making this team better. And and I'm looking forward to doing it for a long time. We'll see where it goes.
AJ, appreciate it very much. Congratulations on the hiring of a new manager, and good luck the rest of this offseason. Thank you for joining us and our 97.3 The Fan listeners.
Okay, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
AJ Preller, president of baseball operations for the San Diego Padres, did not expect an answer to that last question other than what he said, but
I thought you were going to ask him if he knew who Matt
That's
Jones
what I
was.
thought was coming too.
I was waiting for it.
did not get in that.
You know,
question.
AJ, he likes a lot of other sports. He's a
It's true, he does.
yeah.
He
So
is-
it wouldn't
yeah.
shock me if he did. know who
Guessing that
Matt
it
Jones
wasn't
is.
AJ who texted Matt Jones
I
with
would
that
assume
news
not. No.
this morning. So Craig Stammen, the new manager of the San Diego Padres, and got some good insight there from AJ on the process with Ruben Niebla. He said was right there at
Yeah.
the end as one of the last candidates. Albert Pujols obviously was very impressive and right there at the end as well. But it sounds, and tell me if you agree, Sammy, that Craig Stammen's knowledge of the organization, relationships with everybody there, and immediate credibility with the guys who are already in that clubhouse was the determining factor as to why they made him a first-time manager rather than one of the other guys a first-time manager.
I agree. I think it's very much to me, you know, and I said it kind of tongue in cheek earlier, Padre way. To me, it's very much a continuity type of hire with somebody that's been in the organization, somebody that's been inside that clubhouse, somebody that clearly has relationships and respect from guys inside that clubhouse. I do think it's a unique scenario when you have a former teammate walking in. I'm a little fascinated to see how it all plays out, but you certainly have an understanding of why they feel like Craig is ready for this particular role at this particular time.
And again, we will cover the introduction of Craig Stammen as the new Padres manager live here on Monday morning on 97.3 The Fan. A 10 a.m. news conference has been scheduled for Petco Park. The only person who won't be there is Sam Levitt, who will be sunning himself on a beach in Hawaii.
Hey, bad timing.
First
Woodsy will be
and
here,
then you.
though.
Woodsy will be back.
Yeah.
We'll trade Sammy out. Braden will continue on with reaction, probably take some of your phone calls out there, Padres fans, if you want to sound off on what's going on. Braden and Frank are coming in next, but it finally happened. The big news broke, and it happened during our show, Paulie, so we can at least thank the Padres.
Thanks, Woodsy.
What a stunner. We needed Woods to be gone for it to happen. For Paulie, for Sammy, I'm Ben. Have a great rest of your Thursday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.